A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all-old-time radio.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned a homicide detail. A man and his wife are found dead in a rooming house. A dead parrot lies on the floor beside them. The killer set fire to the room to cover his tracks. Your job, get him.
You'll be amazed when you compare Fatima with other long cigarettes.
You'll find they now cost the same. But in Fatima, the difference is quality.
You see, Fatima is the quality king-size cigarette because it contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended. And Fatima is extra mild, with a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. Because of its quality, its extra mildness, its better flavor and aroma, Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
So try comparing Fatima yourself. Fatimas now cost the same as other long cigarettes, but your first puff will tell you...
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Ask your dealer for Fatima, the quality king-size cigarette. Best of all long cigarettes. Start enjoying Fatima tomorrow.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Wednesday, April 2nd. It was windy in Los Angeles. We were working the early morning watch on a homicide. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Thad Brown, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. I was on the way back from communications, and it was 5:25 a.m. when I got to room 42. Homicide. Is this Miss Jones?
Yes, who is it?
This is Joe Friday. I'm sorry to bother you, Miss Jones. Is Lee there?
Oh, yes, Joe. Just a minute. I'll wake him. Lee, honey. Lee, it's Joe Friday. He wants to talk to you.
Yeah, Joe. What is it?
I'm sorry to wake you. Can you come down right away?
What's the trouble?
Got a call from fire headquarters a couple of minutes ago.
Yeah?
They had a fire in a rooming house over on 7th Street. They found 2 dead bodies in one of the rooms.
Yeah? They suffocated?
Well, the battalion chief doesn't think so. They found both bodies on the bed. There was evidence of arson in the room.
What kind of proof they got?
The victims. That's why we called you.
What you got?
Fire department thinks they were dead before the fire started. 5:30 a.m. Romero and I drove out to the rooming house on 7th Street. It was a 2-story building in the middle of the block between South Grand and Toledo Avenue. On one side of it was a small transient hotel, and the other a building which housed a bookbinding firm and studios for an acrobatic dancing school. When we got there, the salvage crew was still working. We were directed to the 2nd floor, where we met with a man in charge from the fire department, Battalion Chief Sullivan.
It's right down the hall here. Watch your step there.
Oh, yeah. You have the names of the victims, Chief?
We think it's Guthrie, Mr. and Mrs. Charles Guthrie. Old couple, lived here for some time, I understand. Here we are. We figure that's where it started, right under the bed over there.
Heat must have been terrific. Look at the walls, Joe.
Yeah. This is where most of the damage was done, Chief?
No, rooms on both sides got it, too. Not as bad as this, though. Guthrie's had 2 rooms. This and the one adjoining. Through the door there.
Mm-hmm. When the fire starts, got any idea?
About 4:45, I'd say. Landlady smelled the smoke about 10 to 5, put in the alarm. Fire was out 3 minutes after 5.
Any other casualties besides the Guthries, I mean?
No, just the 2.
Okay.
Over on the bed here.
Yeah.
Well, the worst I've seen.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. And Ben, you can see from the position of the 2 bodies, doesn't look to me like they suffocated. No evidence that they tried to get out of the room. Both relaxed. Looks like somebody did them in and tried to cover with arson, huh?
Oh, Chief.
Yeah?
On the floor there.
Oh, yeah, a parrot. Somebody wrung its neck, looks like to me, and then threw it there on the floor.
There's the empty cage there, and the corner door's open.
Chief? Yeah, why?
Schubert's still talking to the landlady?
He hasn't come back. Clyde'd like you to meet Friday and Rebello.
No.
Sorry, Friday and Romero homicide detail. This is Clyde Wine from the arson squad.
Hi.
How are you?
You want to show him that setup, Clyde? How it was touched off?
I'm glad to. You can take a look under the bed there. Tells most of the story. You see directly underneath there?
Let me see.
What is that, Wine? Pretty charred.
Rags and papers. Had a good soaking in kerosene before they were touched off. Strung out all under the bed here.
Yeah. Couldn't miss, huh?
Thorough guy, whoever set it up. Most of the carpeting in the room was doused with kerosene, too.
This much you can count on. The man who touched it off knew something about timing devices. Want to show him that rig, Clyde?
Right here.
Yeah?
Ordinary electric heater. This automatic timer was connected to it, then plugged in. Heater was placed under the bed right next to the rags and papers. Timer was set probably for about 4:45 a.m. Timer let go on schedule. Heater warmed up. Rags and papers caught fire, then the mattress. You can see the rest for yourself.
That timer pretty intricate, Wine?
The man who put it together was no amateur, as the chief said. Must have known something about clockwork.
Clyde, see you a minute?
Yeah, Mac. Excuse me, I'll be back in a minute.
Do that. Thanks very much.
You find anything else that might tie in, Chief?
Not in this room, no.
Dead parrot there. Door of the cage open.
Probably a pet. Might have been out of the cage at the time of the fire. Is it possible the parrot could have suffocated, Chief?
Not from what I can see, no. As I say, it looks to me like somebody wrung the bird's neck. A few green feathers on the floor there. That's the adjoining room in there.
Okay.
I figure the Guthries used it as a sitting room.
Yeah.
You can see the fire didn't wipe out everything in here.
Hey, Joe. Come here a minute.
Right.
This carpet here with the door. Dark stains.
Let me see.
What do you think?
Could be blood.
Heavy stains. Sure enough of them.
Yeah. Looks like more of them by that desk there. And some on the wall, too.
Desk drawer's open here.
Yeah, I see that.
That's about it. You know as much as we do so far.
Yeah.
We know how the fire was touched off. We're satisfied it didn't kill those 2 people in there.
The boys from arson squad talking to the other roomers in the building?
Right now, you can check with them.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Chief.
I certainly appreciate it.
Not at all. The usual breaks, isn't it?
How's that?
This is Fire Prevention Week.
5:53 a.m. Lieutenant Lee Jones and the crew from the crime lab arrived. Davis, the photographer, Dean Bergman from Leighton Prince. Pictures were taken of both rooms, which made up Mr. and Mrs. Guthrie's living quarters. Photographs of the bodies were taken. Bergman processed for fingerprints. While Lee Jones continued his investigation, Ben and I went down the hall to the landlady's apartment, where we met with Ray Schubert, one of the men from the arson squad.
These men are from Homicide Division. Sergeant Friday, Sergeant Romero, Mrs. Stedman, that right?
Yes, Clara Stedman. How do you do? I manage the house here. Would either of you care for a cup of tea?
No, thank you. I wouldn't care for it. When did you last see Mr. and Mrs. Guthrie, ma'am?
Well, now, let me see. Miss Guthrie, I saw her just before dinner last night, a little before 6. I went in to borrow an egg and a cup of flour. She was all right then.
Was there anyone with her?
No, she was alone.
What about Mr. Guthrie? When did you last see him?
About 7:30. I looked out my window and I saw him closing up the parking lot.
Did the Guthries have any visitors at all yesterday? Do you remember that?
Well, just one I know of. Jack Marshman. He's working for Mr. Guthrie about a year now.
When did Marshman visit the Guthries, do you know?
Around 4 yesterday afternoon. Yes, I was there, too. Mrs. Guthrie and Jack and I had a cup of tea together. Then Jack left to go back to work, and then I left.
You didn't notice anyone else in or near the Guthries' rooms after that?
No. I had my dinner and listened to a radio play, and then I went off to bed.
Well, I know you're upset, Mrs. Stedman, but can you think of anybody who might have wanted to do away with the Guthries? Anybody who had a reason to do them harm?
Oh, as far as I know, Sergeant, they didn't have an enemy in the world. I guess I was wrong. It's a terrible, terrible thing.
Yes, ma'am. Now, we'll leave our card here with you.
All right.
If you want to contact us, don't hesitate to call anytime.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Miss Stedman. Goodbye, ma'am.
Goodbye.
What time again?
6:15.
It's pretty early. They ought to be able to post the bodies for us this morning.
Say Friday?
Oh, yes, Chief.
Jones, your crime lab man's looking for you.
Thank you. Ben, you called the coroner, didn't you?
Yeah, he's on his way over.
Right.
Lee?
Hi. I'm looking for you. Got a few things.
Yeah, what's that?
This hammer. Found it over in the corner under some of the rubble.
Well?
These stains on the metal handle here, on the head.
Mm-hmm.
Gave it the benzodine test. It's blood.
You figure it's a murder weapon?
I'll know more when I get the coroner's report. Bergman lifted a lot of nice prints. A lot of them all over everything.
Yeah.
On the handle of this hammer, on that timing contraption over there, the one that touched off the fire, even left some in the next room on that metal box in the drawer of the desk.
How do they look?
Got good prints from each room. They match. Come in the next room. Something else.
All right.
Yeah?
Those stains on the carpet by the door. The stains on the carpet by the desk. Those on the wall. Blood stains, all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see here. Sailor stains. All leading through the door into the murder room.
You figure they were murdered in here, and then the killer took the bodies in the next room and put them on that bed. Huh?
Then he set fire to cover up. That's my guess.
How about the prints on the box in that desk, Lee?
Might have been money in the box.
Possible burglary?
That's an angle. I'll take scrapings from these stains on a biological precipitant when I get back to the lab. I'll let you know how it comes out. Better start finishing up here.
Right, Lee. Thanks very much. Well, looks like we're in fair shape. A hammer, a couple of fingerprints.
Righty. Romero?
Yes, Hubert?
That fellow that worked for Mr. Guthrie in the parking lot, Jack Marshman, just got here.
Did you talk to him?
Wyatt and I have him in one of the empty rooms down the hall.
Thanks. Which way?
Down here. Seems pretty well broken up.
You talked to anyone besides you since you got here?
No, I told him the Guthries were dead, that's all. It's taking it pretty hard.
Mm-hmm. Which one?
Right here.
As friends I had, Charlie and Marta. I knew I should have stayed with them. I knew I should have.
These men are from homicide, Mr. Marshman.
Huh?
Sergeant Friday, Sergeant Romero.
Hello, Mr. Marshman.
How are you?
I don't know what I can tell you. I can't understand. Poor Charlie and boy.
Well, what can I do to help?
We'd like to have you answer a few questions, if you don't mind, sir.
Certainly. Anything to help out. Please, you got to find out whoever did it. You got to find out who killed them.
We're going to try, Mr. Marshman. Now, would you tell us the last time you saw the Guthries alive?
Sure. Maud. Mrs. Guthrie, about 4:15 yesterday afternoon. Me and Mrs. Stedman, she's a line lady, we had tea with her. And I went back to help Mr. Guthrie at the parking lot.
Mm-hmm. When's the last time you saw him?
Oh, it's about 6:30. That's when I get off duty at the lot. I said goodbye to Charlie. Never dawned on me it was the last time I'd see him alive. I just can't understand. It's such a vicious thing. Charlie and Marta. It's really terrible.
Yes, sir. You want to just sit down there, Mr. Marshman?
Oh, thank you, guys.
Right.
Yeah?
Are you sure you're the only one who talked to Marshman since he died?
That's right. I met him at the door downstairs.
Well, the only thing you told him was that the Guthries were dead.
That's all he got from us.
Any chance he could have been in the room since the fire?
Not a chance.
Then how do you know somebody killed him?
listening to Dragnet, authentic stories of your police force in action.
You'll be amazed when you compare Fatima with other long cigarettes.
Buy a pack. You'll find Fatimas now cost the same. Light a Fatima.
Ah, that's different.
What a difference.
Yes, friends, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Quality of tobaccos, the finest Turkish and domestic varieties, extra mild and superbly blended, to give you a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette.
Quality of manufacture. Smooth, plump cigarettes rolled in the finest paper money can buy.
Quality, even to the appearance of the bright, clean yellow package, carefully wrapped and sealed to bring you Fatima's rich, fresh, extra mild flavor.
Try comparing Fatima yourself. Fatimas now cost the same as other long cigarettes, but your first puff will tell you...
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Ask your dealer for Fatima, the quality king-size cigarette. Best of all long cigarettes. Start enjoying Fatima tomorrow.
Wednesday, April 2nd, 6:45 a.m. Lee Jones and his men completed their investigation and took their findings back to the crime lab for further examination. The deputy coroner arrived and removed the bodies of Mr. and Mrs. Guthrie to the county morgue. Together with Clyde Wyant and Ray Schubert of the arson squad, Ben and I continued questioning the Guthrie's friend and employee, Jack Marshman. His answers got more confused, and he kept contradicting himself. In some ways, he seemed childlike. In others, a good deal more complex. We strung along. In order to keep up the pretense that he was not a suspect, we asked him to come along with us while we checked his living quarters, a 2-room basement apartment near Olympic and South Flower. We explained it as a routine check. Marshman was calm and self-assured.
Well, here it is, officers. You can see for yourself.
Yeah, Nice, comfortable place.
Oh, I like it. I've been here for about 3 years. Well, this room's where I do my living. Pull-down bed. It's a little gas plate over there. It's handy. Compact.
I see. What do you use this next room for here, Jack?
Oh, it's my shop. I like to put around. You care to see it?
Yeah, okay.
It's very nice. What's your hobby?
Watchmaking here. Used to be a watchmaker. I haven't worked at it lately, though. Job's pretty hard to find.
Yeah. These parts here on the bench. You making something, Jack?
Oh, just fooling around. Old alarm clock there. I'm fixing it up for a friend.
All these wires and things. They all go into the works, huh?
More or less, yeah. Just something I was fooling around with. It keeps me busy, you know. I like a hobby. They say it's good for you.
That's what they say, yeah.
Where does this door go, Marshman?
Oh, it's my closet. Just some clothes and stuff in there. Just junk.
Don't mind if I look, Dave.
It's only a closet. They're just clothes and junk. There's nothing to see.
Say, Jack, do you usually keep this stuff around?
Huh? Oh.
It's kerosene, and it's pretty dangerous to store like this. There's no cap on it.
Yeah, I'm glad you reminded me. I got to get a cap for that. I use it to wash up. My hands get dirty working around the bench.
This shirt, these trousers. Are yours, Jack?
I wish you wouldn't drag that stuff out. It gets my stuff all mixed up. Yeah, they're mine.
That's what I figured. The stains here is quite a few of them.
Some kind of paint I was using. I'm pretty sloppy with paint.
That's not paint, is it, Jack? It looked like blood to me.
Well, what difference does it make? Working clothes.
I think your reason was in the day.
Oh, why don't you lay off? Who cares what kind of stain it is? You come in here snooping around, looking all around. I invited you in here. I didn't give you the place. This is my apartment, and this is my shop. Now, you can get out. You hear me? Both of you can get out.
What's the matter, Jack?
I said you can get out.
All right. You want to tell us before we go?
I'll tell you what.
Why you killed the Guthries.
What do you mean?
Why did you kill Mr. and Miss Guthrie?
No reason. I just did.
9 a.m. We put the stained clothing and the materials from the workbench in the car. Together with the suspect, we headed back for the office. On the way, Marshman was quiet. He asked for some breakfast. We stopped and bought him some ham and eggs. We tried to get him to talk. He refused. After breakfast, we dropped the stained clothing and the other things at the crime lab, and then we drove to the city hall. We parked the car in front of the Spring Street entrance and started up the stairs.
Hey, wait a minute.
What's wrong?
I've been thinking.
Yeah?
It's all a mistake.
What is?
I didn't know what I was talking about. I didn't kill him.
9:47 a.m. Ben and I took the suspect into the interrogation room. We checked him through R&I. He had a record of 2 petty thefts the year before. We went back to the interrogation room and got on the phone. We call latent fingerprints.
We made them, Joe. The prints on the hammer, the timing device, and the metal box on the desk. They all belong to Marshman.
10:03 a.m. I call the county morgue.
Bodies identified as Mr. and Mrs. Charles Guthrie. Cause of death, Mrs. Guthrie. Multiple depressed fractures of the skull. Subarachnoid hemorrhage. Blunt instrument. Cause of death, Mr. Guthrie, about the same. Compressions of the brain in the occipital area around the brainstem.
10:25 a.m. I put in a call to Lee Jones at the crime lab.
The materials from the workbench are the same that went into that automatic timer, Joe. Piece together the cut ends of some of the wires. They match.
How about the stains on his clothes?
Human blood.
10:45 a.m. We laid it out for the suspect, step by step.
Let me rest a while. I'll feel better. Let me think.
We stayed with him. We waited. 11:20 a.m. The suspect opened his eyes.
Sergeant?
Yeah.
I want to talk about it.
11:25 a.m. Schubert and Wyatt from the arson squad joined us. We called in one of the stenographers to take Marshman's statement, Eleanor Eastlack. She automatically took down the time, the place, and those present.
Jack, this is Miss Eastlack. She's going to record your statement so there'll be no misunderstanding as to what you say at this time.
How do you do, man?
Joe, you want to handle the question?
All right. Jack, we've got a few preliminaries here for you.
Okay.
John Everett Marshman, is that your true name?
Yeah.
Where do you live?
122.5 Morgan Place, Apartment B.
What's your age?
37.
Occupation?
Watchmaker, when I'm working.
Well, now, Jack, you've indicated to us in a previous conversation that you're willing to make a statement setting forth the true facts surrounding the deaths of Mr. and Miss Charles Guthrie.
That's right, I'll tell you.
Were you in their home Tuesday, April 1st? That's yesterday.
Yeah, that's right, I was.
What time did you get there?
First time? About 5 minutes to 4 in the afternoon. Mrs. Guthrie was there, and so was the landlady, Mrs. Stedman. We had some tea.
Was anybody else present while you were there?
No, it's just the three of us.
How long did you stay there?
I left about 4:15, I guess. Guess I was there about 20 minutes.
Where'd you go when you left?
Well, back to the parking lot as usual. Charlie Guthrie left and went home to dinner. He got back about 6:15. I left at 6:30, quitting time.
Where'd you go after you left the parking lot?
Went around the block and then back to the Guthrie's place.
Why'd you go back there?
To get money. Charlie never paid me enough. Picked me up and expected me to work for nothing.
All right. Now, in your own words, will you tell us just what happened starting when you entered the Guthrie's apartment the second time?
Mrs. Guthrie opened the door and I went in. She gave me a cup of tea and I told her I wanted some money. She wouldn't give me any. I don't know why, but I was mad. I was sick and tired of both of them. They never gave me enough money.
Eleanor?
I'm eating it, Sergeant.
All right, go ahead, please.
Mrs. Guthrie went in the next room, and I went over to the desk and got the money from the box that they keep it in. I don't know how much. I grabbed all of it, and that parrot started squawking. Mrs. Guthrie came running in. She saw me with the money, and she says, "Jack." I picked up something and hit her. It was the hammer, and I kept hitting her.
Can you remember how many times you hit her, Marshman?
Oh, I don't know. She fell down. Parrot was still squawking, jumping around the cage. I went over and opened the door of the cage and pulled the parrot out. It stopped moving finally. I went in the bedroom and threw it on the floor, and then I dragged Mrs. Guthrie in the bedroom and put her on the bed, and I left.
Where'd you go?
No, I don't know. I walked around. Tried to think of something. It was cold. I got a bottle of wine, I drank it, and I got to thinking about what Charlie'd do when he got home. I knew he'd be sure I did it. He always blamed me for everything. So I finally went back to the Guthrie's place and found the hammer that I used on her.
What'd you intend doing with the hammer?
Killed Charlie. If she had it coming, so did he. You can't blame me if they forced me into it. Anybody would have done the same.
What'd you do after you found the hammer again?
I picked it up and waited for Charlie to come home. I remember that. Wine made me feel pretty good. I stood there in the dark holding the hammer. Watched out the window for Charlie. It was cold out, I remember that. There was a radio on down the hall, and I held on to the hammer and waited for Charlie. Neon light across the street that came through the windows. Old lady was on the bed in there. I could see the parrot on the floor. It was quiet. I had a smoke. Traffic kept going by outside. I could hear that. I held on to the hammer. It's windy out. I kept thinking Mrs. Guthrie was looking at me from the bed, but she wasn't. Charlie came home at the usual time, a little after 7:30, and I stood by the door. He came in and Closed the door after him. When he reached for the lights, I hit him. He fell down. I hit him some more. You couldn't blame me. Anybody would have done the same. Anybody would have, the way he kicked me around.
How many times did you hit him, Marshman?
I don't know.
Was it twice? 3 times?
I hit him till he quit moving. That's all. I took him, dragged him into the bedroom, put him on the bed with his wife. I put him over. Wiped the stains off of me and left. It's the only thing I could do.
Where'd you go then?
My place. I knew that timer I had to do the trick. I put it in a shopping bag with some stuff, and I went back to the Guthrie's. They were still there on the bed. Parrot was on the floor.
Would you repeat that last part, Mr. Marshman?
Oh, I said they were still on the bed, the Guthrie's, and the Parrot was on the floor next to the bed. Put the kerosene on the carpet and the rags and paper under the bed and rigged up the electric heater and the automatic timer to set it off.
A little slower?
Would you speak up, Jack, and then slow it down just a little bit?
Oh, sorry.
How did you rig the timer to set off the heater, Marshman? Can you tell us?
Oh, it'd take all morning to tell you. You got the timer. I'll take it apart and explain it to you if you want.
All right.
What was your purpose in setting fire to the room? You knew both Mr. and Mrs. Guthrie were dead, didn't you?
Oh, sure. Sure they were. They forced me into it. They set the fire to make it look like an accident, like they'd burned to death.
Well, what'd you do after you set the timer?
Oh, I left, went down the street, bought a couple of bottles of wine, talked to the guy a minute. I walked around a while. It was too cold, so I went home.
When'd you get home?
2:30 maybe. I don't remember too well.
Did you go right to bed?
Yeah.
Did you go to sleep?
No. I laid there and read a movie magazine, drank the wine. Finally, I finished up the 2 bottles and dozed off.
What time did you get up?
A little before 6 this morning. Went down to the Guthrie's to nose around. That's when I met you guys. Well, you know all the rest because I've been with you ever since.
All right, Jack. Anything else you'd like to add?
No, I told you everything.
All right. And this statement was given free and voluntarily. There's been no promise of immunity or reward extended to you?
Yeah, that's right.
Was any force, violence, or duress used to induce you to make this statement?
No.
Okay. These questions and answers have been recorded by the secretary here. After they've been transcribed, will you be willing to sign it as a true statement?
Sure, I'll sign it.
All right, Eleanor. Can you get that out as soon as possible?
All right, Sergeant.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, that's it, huh? All of it?
That's it.
Oh, that's good. That's good. I'm tired. It's been a long night, a long one.
Get used to it.
Huh?
They're going to get longer.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On July 29th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 86, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. Recently, I've asked you to send me the names of cigarette dealers who are out of Fatimas. You see, the demand for Fatimas is so great that I want to make sure that all of you can buy them. So keep your letters coming. If you find a dealer fresh out of Fatimas, let me know and we'll have something done about it. Write your dealer's name and address on a card and mail it to me, Jack Webb, Post Office Box 951, Hollywood 28. And now for you, Mr. Dealer. The coming holiday season will find new thousands insisting on Fatima quality. Step up your order for Fatimas tomorrow. Get in on the increasing demand for the quality long cigarette.
John Everett Marshman was tried and convicted of murder in the first degree, 2 counts, and arson, 1 count. He is now serving a life term in the state penitentiary without possibility of parole. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, the best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, portions transcribed from Los Angeles.
Coming up, We the People, then Screen Directors Playhouse on NBC.
My name's Regan. I work for Anthony J. Lyon, Detective Bureau. They call me the Lion's Eye.
Sunday at 8:30, and CBS brings you Jeff Regan, Investigator, starring Frank Graham as Regan, with Frank Nelson as Anthony J. Lyon. So stand by for mystery and suspense and adventure in tonight's transcribed story, No Sad Clowns for Me.
There was a tall clown and a short clown juggling this one, plus a sleek but overaged destroyer named Ruth that wore tights and trained tigers. All parts of a big circus playing a small town of 649 people. And somewhere along the midway, a joker wanted to cut me down to size. 6-foot box size. I wasn't thinking about the circus when I went to the Detective Bureau Wednesday morning, but my boss was. The Lion was up to his knuckles in...
Green, my boy. I've just about decided to have our whole office done over in green.
Why the sea of $1 bills?
A client, my boy, with payment in advance.
Those bills look like they've been papered in a rat's nest.
They're all in pieces, my boy, but they're good.
You'd know.
Yeah, of course. Notice when I hold this one against this 300-watt light, the paper's made with silk threads. Fitting the torn bills together, they come to $67, Jeffrey.
And the client is...
See this canvas bag?
Bottle top?
It's full of nickels, dimes, and quarters, Jeffrey. With the $1 bills, it makes a very nice retainer of $75.
For which we do what?
Nothing.
Now, wait a minute, Fatso. You mean a client walked in here, laid down $75 to hire us to do nothing?
Exactly.
Duck, there's a curve on this pitch.
No, my boy. The whole thing's perfectly legitimate. Our client walked in about an hour ago.
Description?
Well, he was a tall man, eccentric.
Go on.
45 or 50 years old, long, pale, stringy, yellowish hair, like an actor, and oddly dressed.
This keeps getting better.
Well, he had on a single-breasted pinstripe suit and tennis sneakers, a rope for a belt.
Does he fly?
What? No. Anyway, Jeffrey, he put the money down. He saw I was worried about the small denominations, and then he said, "It's not brass." Just like that.
It's not brass.
A circus expression, my boy. Then he leaned right over this desk and said slowly, showing his big teeth, Jeffrey, "When a little old man named Crackley comes in, don't take his case."
And you went for that?
Of course. We do nothing, no trouble at all.
Lion, it could be we're in trouble. Give me our client's name and address and the retainer. I'll take it back.
Well, unfortunately...
Don't tell me. You didn't get the name and address.
Well, you see, my boy, he was in a great hurry.
You gave him a receipt for the $75?
Oh, of course. Everything very businesslike.
That ties us into the case, but good. Now, no matter what happens, we're mixed up in it.
You're borrowing trouble.
We bought it.
Oh, relax, my boy.
We got to get that receipt.
Forget it. Just be grateful.
Okay, Lion. But if Crackley shows up, be careful. I turned and started for the door. I knew client was a crank. We'd have to be more than careful. But I couldn't dump the trouble into the Lion's lap. I slammed the door on my way out. The noise made a little old guy jump. He was standing in the hall, just outside our door. It wasn't hard to figure who he was. Crackley?
You know my name?
Well, I do now. You're on your way into the Lion Detective Bureau.
Yes.
I'm Regan.
The Lion's Eye?
That's what they call me.
You're the man I came here to see. You were highly recommended.
I'd like to talk to you, Crackley. I know a place they'll let us sit down for 50 cents.
I could use a drink.
I thought maybe. We went to Dugan's bar. Crackley was a little guy, but smart, almost sharp. He had an outdoor face, tanned, with deep wrinkles like closed eyes in his forehead. Like he had a lot on his mind, and he wanted to talk.
I'm the owner of a circus, Mr. Regan.
Oh, congratulations.
Well, you don't understand. I don't know if you can imagine the responsibilities of a circus owner. To his employees, I mean. They're all specialists. And if we were to close up and go out of business, well, there'd be no place for them to go.
Except another circus.
Oh, circus business has fallen off since the war years, Mr. Regan.
Oh, I hadn't heard.
Business is terrible.
Yeah, sure.
Another drink, gentlemen?
No, thanks.
No, I don't.
Now, why did you come to the Lion Detective Bureau?
I want you to find a man named Bliss.
Why?
Well, Bliss has been investing in my circus.
Putting money into a losing proposition?
Oh, it's not unusual. People that love the circus, especially wealthy people. enjoy putting their money into things that give them pleasure.
Bliss is missing?
Well, for the last 3 weeks.
And the money has stopped coming into the circus.
Well, yes, Mr. Regan.
When did you last see Bliss?
The fact is, I've never seen Bliss.
But he puts money into your circus?
Through his lawyer. Right now we're playing Bliss's hometown. I'd hope to meet him in person. But...
Yeah. What would you say, Mr. Crackley, if I told you a strange man came into our bureau this morning and paid us not to take your case?
Why, someone's following me?
Well, I don't know, but... Yeah. Yeah, Mr. Crackley, someone's following you.
Mr. Regan, what are you looking at?
You mean, what is it looking at us?
But where?
Stay put. I'll be right back. I ran to the window. The face that had been peering in at us whipped out of sight. A couple of winos in Dugan's door cost me 2 or 3 seconds getting out, and that was enough. When I got to the street, it was empty. The man with the long, stringy, yellowish hair who'd been watching us was gone. I went back into the bar. That's when I got a second surprise. Crackley was gone, too. A quick call to Billboard gave me what I needed. The Crackley Great Combined Circus was playing a town of 650 people. A place called Crossroads in the foothills, about a 2-hour drive from L.A. The crank with the yellow hair on the rope belt was somehow tied up with that Crackley circus. Yellow Hair had the Lion's signed receipt. I had to get it back. So I got into my car and headed for Crossroads. And when I got there, funny thing, the town was deserted. But the circus midway was jammed. It looked like Crossroads' whole 649 population was at that circus.
Hot dogs, hot puppies, they're delicious, they're nutritious. Step up and get one.
How much?
Eh?
A hot dog, how much?
Oh, yeah, hot dog. Hey, you mean you're going to buy one?
Why not?
Nobody buys nothing in this cheap burg.
Business looks pretty good to me. Everybody in town here at the circus.
Don't cost them nothing.
Oh, no?
Old Crackley's putting on a show for nothing. Making it look good for Bliss, his silent partner.
The show's papered then. Annie Oakley's for free, huh?
Say, you Bliss?
And if I am?
I ain't said nothing.
Yeah. How much for the hot dog?
2 bits.
I paid for the hot dog, walked along the midway asking questions wherever I could get an answer. It's like the dog peddler had said. Crackley had papered the house, bought tickets for everyone in town to guarantee business. We weren't supposed to take the case, but the situation was interesting, and I got to wondering about Bliss, how he fitted in. But then I remembered I was here to get our receipt back, so I bypassed the midway, walked around to the performers' tents. No gaudy signs here, no freak shows, palmists, or ballet. And I found a woman, or rather, she found me.
Regan?
Nice to be known.
This is my tent, Mr. Regan. Please come in.
She was tall, slim. You could spend time watching her. Young, but not too young. Her hair was long and black, almost to the roots. Her face was firm, beautiful, but her eyes had already been there and back. Then we were in her tent, nobody around except the tigers just outside. And she got nearer, and I could see more.
Regan.
Nice tent.
I got a message.
Uh-huh.
Go home.
That's your message?
Go back to L.A., Crackley says.
You a friend of Crackley's?
He saw you on the midway. He said, that's Regan. That's the Lion's Eye from L.A. that ought to go home.
You sure it wasn't Bliss?
You know Bliss?
Oh, yeah. Very close personal friend of mine.
You're clever, Regan.
It's my business.
Make sure your business doesn't get you into trouble.
Hey, that tiger's close.
Yeah, I work the big cats. They hate me and I hate them. I like them kept near me. Gives me a chance to whip them through the bars whenever I'm feeling blue.
Lady.
Yeah?
What's your name?
I got a surprise for you, Mr. Regan.
I've had lots today.
My name's Crackley.
You're married to old Crackley, the circus owner?
I married his son, Mr. Regan.
His son?
Yeah, George Crackley. The little runt that's standing in back of you.
I turned. George was there, all right. And he was little, maybe 4 feet 10 inches tall, wearing a clown suit. His face was in queer makeup, chalk white, bruised blue. He was supposed to look like a sad clown. And he was.
What are you doing around here?
Looking for a man.
She look like a man?
No.
You're after my wife, too. You were standing real close.
Guys fall in love with me, Regan. My husband's a poor sport about it.
Well, make sure you don't wake up dead, mister. Make sure you don't get dropped on.
I'll be real careful.
George, if you don't get out of here...
Ruth, don't you think it's time you were getting into your costume? The walk-around will begin in 4 or 5 minutes.
A tall clown filled the opening to the tent. When he spoke, Ruth began fumbling with the costume. Little George looked like he was going to cry, then walked out of the tent without a word. Ruth followed him. And I was left alone with a tall clown in makeup, with a red watermelon mouth and cold blue eyes.
I hated to interrupt, Mr. Regan, but Ruth must dress for the walk-around, as we of the circus call our opening parade.
You seem to have an effect on George, too.
Oh, George and I are partners. He's the sad, bruised clown, and I am the cruel clown. I frighten him, maul him, beat and bruise him with various objects. It amuses people.
Naturally.
We're all sadists at heart.
Maybe you can help me.
I'll try.
I'm looking for a tall, eccentric man. Wears tennis shoes, rope for a belt. Has long, stringy, yellowish hair, you know? I said, do you know him?
Of course. That would be Mr. Bliss.
Where can I find him?
As a matter of fact, Mr. Regan, I have a message for Mr. Bliss. He wants to see you.
Oh? Who will I say sent me?
Just the cruel clown. He'll know who you mean.
Where do I meet Bliss?
At his home. I'll tell you how to get there.
He did. I got into my car and started the drive to his shack. I'd meet him on his own terms at his place. It was a 15-minute drive, most of the way up a side road. I was almost there when a car pulled into the side road behind me, coming up fast, its headlights growing in my rearview mirror. I pulled over to let the speedball pass. He began to cut in on me. The trailer he had hitched on sideswiped me. I felt myself go against the steering post. Then I didn't feel anything for a long time. I'd been thrown clear of my car. When I came to, there was a huge man standing over me, black in the moonlight. My gun was gone. My hand caught at a club, and then I saw it wasn't a club, but a small, very small chair arm. Must have fallen from the trailer. The trailer was gone. The man started moving in.
Well, sweetheart.
Stand back.
Coming to, sweetheart?
Get back.
I got your gun, baby. I'm Logan, chief of police at Crossroads. Maybe I ought to take you into custody for reckless driving.
Logan, I'm a private detective from Los Angeles.
Well, why don't you get up from the ground and tell me about it? Here.
Yeah, thanks. Somebody ran me off the road on purpose. I think I know who.
That's so, sweetheart?
That's not all. There's something phony about that circus play in your town.
Ain't no circus around here.
You're real funny.
Fact is, I'll make you a bet, baby. You can't show me no circus around these parts.
You seem sure of that.
Give you 20 to 1.
Let's go take a look.
All right.
We drove in his car to the circus lot. When we got there, we saw the lot was full of color. All of it moonlight. Vacant. Not a candy wrapper. The crackly great combined circus was gone. As though it had never existed.
This is CBS, and you are listening to No Sad Clowns for Me, tonight's adventure with Jeff Regan, Investigator.
It started bad, and it got worse. The lion had us balled up in it like a cat in a fish line before I even heard of the case. Then I took over. I did fine. Trying to get our receipt for $75 back, I got myself run off the road near the town of Crossroads, got my car smashed up. Then the chief of police told me that the crackly great combined circus where I'd spent an hour wasn't there. And it wasn't. Chief of police thought this was real funny.
Where'd the circus go, sweetheart?
L.A., probably.
You're kind of slick.
Couldn't have been gone more than an hour. Look at those filled-in post holes.
You're a real bright fella.
And I know why it left in such a hurry.
Oh, you city fellows are real sharp-like.
The circus left because of a guy named Bliss.
You know about Bliss.
Bliss was putting money into a circus, not taking any out.
Keep talking.
Bliss gets tired of this, slaps an attachment on the circus. Crackley pulled the show out before it could be served.
Yeah, you're real smart. You'd better come along with me, sweetheart. We better have a little, talking.
It hit the bullseye, and I got more than I bargained for. It seems Bliss had no friends, except Logan, who, being the local legal eagle, was also appointed by Bliss as his lawyer, having full power of attorney. Now Logan was ready to talk.
Bliss, now, he ain't no dummy. He was in the circus himself years ago, before he got wise and made a lot of dough in plumbing fixtures. No money in show business, sweetheart.
They tell me.
Now, Bliss, he ain't old, but he's kind of funny. All of a sudden, he wants to...
invest in a circus. His old love. But he also wants to make some money out of it.
Oh, Bliss, he likes money. He married a circus cat years ago. Left her because she was draining away his salary.
How much money did Bliss put into the Crackley circus?
Well, baby, Bliss bought in deep enough to own, 49% of the show.
Bliss isn't getting any money out of his investment, so he slaps an attachment on the show. Crackley gets wind of it, pulls the show out.
You were right up to there, sweetheart.
Talk, Logan.
I got a note from Bliss just this afternoon. Told me to lift the attachment order. It was a real happy note.
Where's Bliss now?
Honest, baby, I don't know. He's queer. He's just gone.
Bliss skipped out on his wife. That can't be his real name.
No, I can't tell you much. Promised Bliss I wouldn't, but his name used to be Elmer C. Bickle.
You got a phone, Logan?
Here you are, baby. But get the charges.
I was getting an idea. Another reason for the show's moving. One thing was sure. Bliss was in it up to his ears. It was 2 a.m. now, and I got the lion at home.
Yeah, Anthony J. Lyon, Detective Bureau, Home Office. We never sleep.
And why haven't you been asleep?
Jeffrey. Well, I've had some very important work to do tonight.
Such as?
Pasting those dollar bills together, if you must know.
You're graduating from kindergarten right now, Fatso. Get your car out.
At this hour?
I'm in Crossroads, California, slaving for the agency, and you can help.
What can I do?
Get all the stuff you can on a guy named Elmer C. Bickle.
Bickle?
Bickle.
No.
Joined the circus years ago, married somebody, left his wife. Check variety.
That'll take all night, Jeffrey.
You've got 1 hour. Oh, another thing, Fatso. Check the theatrical hotels, places where show people, circus people put up. Here's what we need. A line on anybody connected with the Crackley Great Combined...
I can give you that, sweetheart.
What?
You what?
I know where they probably hold in.
Lion, forget that last. But check Bickle. I hung up, and Logan said he'd heard the performers in Crackley Circus usually stayed at the Fossman Hotel in Los Angeles. So I called the Fossman Hotel.
Oh, hello.
The desk clerk sounded wide awake.
Fossman Hotel?
Has Mr. Crackley checked in?
Who's asking?
Regan, private investigator.
Well, we certainly could have used a private investigator this morning.
Why?
Heavens, the circus came in without telling us. Everybody's so upset.
You better make sure they pay in advance.
Oh, well, Mr. Crackley paid everything in advance. He has a finest suite of rooms. But there's such confusion. I just don't know what to do.
You wouldn't. Now, about Crackley.
Oh, I'll ring. But he's probably asleep anyway.
Hello?
Crackley, this is Jeff Regan.
Oh, Regan.
Why did you run away?
I don't know. Well, we had to leave because we were so low on funds that the sheriff's office was going to tax the show. We heard of the order and left town to leave their jurisdiction.
Yeah, sure. Well, your worries are over, Crackley. I've found Bliss for you. Bickle, too.
Oh, no, it's impossible. Well, I mean...
Yeah, I know what you mean. It hit me. The circus was making money. Crackley had paid his hotel bill in advance. Fine suite of rooms. Why, he'd probably been keeping a double set of books cheating Bliss. I got Logan, got in his car, and drove back to the deserted circus lot. We drove fast. The circus had pulled out in the middle of the night for another reason. And I knew now we'd better look for that reason. The lot was deserted. Low, cold mist over the ground. Gray morning. A small animal moved through the mist like a creature from another world. A small dog. He'd found what we couldn't see. He had something in his mouth. A cap with a red pom-pom on its pointed end. A clown's cap, stained with blood. Logan had men digging within minutes. One of the filled post holes seemed larger than the rest. This was it.
We found him, Mr. Regan.
Yeah. Let me see his face.
Yeah. Kind of muddy.
Still in makeup. Tall, cruel clown.
You know him?
Yeah. You too. Pull the skull cap off.
For Mr.
Bickle. Alias Bliss. Long, stringy, yellowish hair like an actor. Only he isn't playing at being dead. Come on, Logan. Keys to your car. I've got an appointment at the Fossman Hotel. I took Logan's car, made the 2-hour trip back to L.A. I phoned the Lion as soon as I hit town. I got the complete rundown on Bickle. Then I went to the Fossman Hotel. I asked the room clerk for old Crackley's room number. It was 203. I didn't wait to be announced. You should lock your door, Crackley. You could get company you might not enjoy.
Well, I've been waiting for you.
I know why you pulled out of Crossroads so fast last night, Crackley.
But I don't know anything.
I found Bliss.
I'm not interested in Bliss anymore.
And maybe you're interested in Bickle, the tall clown.
Now, please, Mr. Regan.
Bliss joined the circus under his real name, Bickle, to check up on his investment.
The tall clown was Bliss?
Yeah. He was eccentric, but not eccentric enough to throw his money away. But he got more than he bargained for.
No, please, now leave me alone.
He's dead, Crackley.
Dead. Yes, dead.
You pulled out of Crossroads last night because a man was killed and buried there on the lot.
But I didn't kill him.
But you know who did?
No.
I had the Lion check on Bickle. It seems he married a Ruth Sandusky in Chicago, April 18th, 1930. Now, Ruth Sandusky was only a kid then, featured in an animal act.
My son George married her in good faith, Mr. Regan. I was against the marriage.
Where's George now?
But I can't tell you.
I left the Crackley suite of rooms, checked the front desk for George's room. Was told he lived in his own small trailer. But when he was in town, he always parked it down by the circus warehouse. That's where I headed. The circus warehouse was down by the tracks. It was a raw wood building that had fallen in on its bones. Most of the circus trucks had unloaded. Things were pretty quiet. I got out of the car, walked around. The rear of the warehouse was parked a small trailer, beat up. The one that had forced me off the highway near Crossroads. Inside, I found Ruth. Ruth Sandusky.
Regan.
Married Elmer C. Bickle in Chicago, April 18th, 1930.
You're a real bright eye.
You kind of like being married, don't you, Ruth? So much you get married twice.
Girl needs a man.
With money.
Bickle ran away from me the week we played Chillicothe. The only way I knew he was alive, he used to put crazy ads in the trades every Christmas.
You'll be sitting pretty when old man Crackley dies and George inherits the circus.
Oh, I try not to think of such things.
Bickle joined the circus 3 weeks ago. He recognized you, wanted you again, moved in on George. The thing is, you were still married to Bickle. You'd kind of overlooked getting a divorce, which meant you weren't legally married to George, meaning you had no future claim on the circus.
You won't tell George. I'll make it worth your while, Mr. Regan.
Trouble is, lady, George saw Bickle, the new clown, moving in on him. And easily, too. You were afraid to hold Bickle off, afraid he might yell bigamy. Real cozy for you, Ruth. Both husbands, clowns in the same act.
You better stop talking, Mr. Regan.
George had to move out of your tent, sleep in his trailer. He was crazy jealous. That's why he tried to finish me by driving me off the road. He thought I was moving in, too.
Stop it while you still got the chance.
Bickle said, come back to me or I yell bigamy, and you killed him.
Stop it!
Only one thing, lady. You didn't know that Bickle and Bliss were the same man.
Bliss?
Yeah, the angel. The guy that was pouring all that money into the circus.
Bickle was Bliss. I'm still married to him, legally.
That's almost right.
Yeah. Yes, it was bigamy. What do I want with George now? As the wife of Bliss or whatever he called himself now, I'll inherit all his dough.
You killed Bliss.
What? Cracky thinks his son did it. George will go to the gas chamber for me. I'm a bigamist, Mr. Regan, so give me 2 years.
No, you won't get rid of me that easy.
George.
I heard what
Little
you were
George, the sad, bruised clown, stood in the doorway of the small trailer. It was like he didn't see me, only Ruth, his almost wife. But he'd heard
I thought
plenty.
you killed him because he was molesting you.
Shut up, George.
I thought you killed him because you loved me.
You stay away from me, George.
Ruth ran out of the trailer, followed by George. He slammed the door to hold me back. I got the door open just in time to see little George slip into the circus warehouse. I ran after them, fast. Inside the warehouse, it was dim. There was the sharp smell of circus animals. Little George was flexing his muscles for the first time in his life.
I won't let him get you. I'll take you from the gas chamber.
A superhuman strength had come into him. He had Ruth by the hair and was forcing her into an animal cage. The tiger was crouched in the corner of the cage, ready to jump. I grabbed both George and Ruth by the hair and pulled them back. I kicked the cage shut.
Why didn't you let me finish?
Sorry, George. The state will want witnesses when Ruth finishes her act. In the gas chamber. That wound it up. I called Sanducci of homicide. When they came to take Ruth away, I saw little George, the fall guy, standing near his trailer, all alone. 2 hours later, I checked in with the Lion at the office.
We're in the money. We're in the money.
Still at the paste pot, Lion?
Oh, yes, my boy. I've just finished pasting the last bill together. The silk threads match perfectly.
Nice, neat job.
Oh, Jeffrey, you just don't know how hard I work for our future.
Uh-huh. Bank should take these all right.
Now, I slaved all night, my boy.
The only thing, money doesn't belong to us.
Yeah, I think I'll just press the bill so the bank will be sure. What?
Money isn't ours.
But Hey, what do you mean?
I got a call from Logan. Says he found your receipt in the Bliss shack. I had to tell him we got the $75 to keep us from taking the case.
Oh.
So the Bliss estate demands its money back.
It's all your fault, Jeffrey.
Yeah, I guess maybe.
If you hadn't opened
Well,
up...
I guess I'll just have to keep this 100.
Yeah. Well, what's that you have?
$100 bill. Got 2 more, just like it.
Jeffrey. But who...
Oh, Crackley gave it to me.
Yeah.
He thought his son George had killed Bickle. When we proved it was Ruth, he gave it.
Oh, how could I have ever doubted you, Jeffrey?
Oh, another thing, Lion.
Yes?
Meant to tell you, those bills you pasted together?
No, I worked so hard over them.
Well, the bank would have fitted the bills together for you.
Yes. Oh, no!
Jeff Regan, Investigator, is written by William Frug and Gilbert Thomas, directed by Sterling Tracy, and stars Frank Graham as Regan with Frank Nelson as Anthony J. Lyon. Original music is by Dick Arant. Jeff Regan, Investigator, is transcribed each week at the same time over CBS. Bob Stevenson speaking, and inviting you to be with us again next Sunday at 8:30 for more suspense and mystery and adventure with Jeff Regan, Investigator.
This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
True. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned a bunco detail. A gang of petty swindlers has set up operations in your city. They're experienced, cunning. They work fast. Your job, get 'em.
You'll be amazed when you compare Fatima with other long cigarettes.
You'll find they now cost the same. But in Fatima, the difference is quality.
You see, Fatima is the quality king-size cigarette because it contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended. And Fatima is extra mild with a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. Because of its quality, its extra mildness, its better flavor and aroma, Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
So try comparing Fatima yourself. Fatimas now cost the same as other long cigarettes, but your first puff will tell you.
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Ask your dealer for Fatima, the quality king-size cigarette. Best of all, long cigarettes. Start enjoying Fatima tomorrow.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, December 14th. It was cold in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of bunco detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Captain McCauley. My name's Friday. It was 10:35 a.m. when I got to room 38. Bunco detail.
Joe?
Yeah, Ben.
Joe, this is Miss Bergstrom. You talked to her on the phone last night?
Oh, yeah, sure.
This is my partner, Sergeant Friday.
How you do?
Glad to know you. Would you care to sit down?
Thank you. I was downtown, so I thought it'd be just as easy for me to come in and see you.
Did you bring those things with you, Miss Bergstrom?
Here they are. Wristwatch. Pen and pencil set.
Mm-hmm. Sure make them look nice, don't they?
On the outside, yeah.
Let me take the back off the watch for you. There. You can see for yourself, Sergeant.
It's junk, not worth 15 cents.
Charged me $48 for that watch. Said it was wholesale. He wasn't making any profit on it. Told me he was doing it because he'd known Harry so well. Watch only ran for a day, then it stopped.
How about the pen and pencil set, miss?
This is bad. Pen's just a shell, won't even write. Same with a pencil. I paid him $30 for them.
Mm-hmm. This engraving on the pen. With love from Harry.
That's Harry's boy I was engaged to. That's how the man got me interested to start with. Came to my house and gave them to me. The watch and the pen and pencil. Said Harry had ordered them as presents for me.
See?
I just had to cry when he brought them. Poor Harry.
When did this man come to your home, Miss Bergstrom?
Yesterday morning. Guess I should have been more careful, but I didn't think anybody would do a thing like that.
What kind of a story did he give you?
Well, he came to the door and told me his name was Spencer. He said Harry had ordered these things as presents for me, and Harry told him to deliver them to my house. Watch looked beautiful in the case. I didn't know anything was wrong.
I see. Would you go on, please?
He told me it was a special order. Said Harry had written him from overseas a week before. Harry was in the Marine Corps, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he said he hoped the engraving was all right. The way Harry wrote, he wanted it in his letter. I just couldn't take it. I cried.
This man, he pretended to be a close friend of Harry?
Yeah. That's why I showed him the letter. One from the Marine Corps about Harry being killed overseas.
When did you receive that letter, Miss Bergstrom?
2 days before, on Saturday. Harry's name was on the casualty list on Monday.
Yes, we understand. What did the man do when you showed him the letter?
He sympathized with me. Or he pretended to. I didn't think there was any trick. I didn't think anybody was that low. Pen and pencil set looked a little cheap, but I wanted them no matter how cheap they were. Harry's last present to me, that's what I thought.
How did he broach the idea of money?
Well, when he was ready to leave, he told me
Harry had ordered the things on credit. Said he didn't want to mention it, but he wondered how I could get payment for the watch and the pen and pencil.
Well, he didn't show you a bill, did he? An invoice listing the price of the watch or the engraving that was done?
No. And I didn't want him bothering Harry's mother or father at a time like this. I borrowed some money from my dad and paid him.
Let's see, it's $48 for the watch, $30 for the pen and pencil set.
Yeah. He gave me a phone number to call if the watch needed adjustment. And when I found the watch was a fake, I called the number. It was a Chinese laundry. They didn't know anything about it.
You haven't seen or heard from this man since he left your house yesterday morning?
No.
Could you describe this man for us, Miss Bergstrom? What he looked like, clothes he was wearing?
It's right here in this slip of paper, Sergeant. I wrote it all out for you.
Thank you.
Well, you're not alone, if that's any consolation. There's an army widow out in Hollywood who was cheated on the same kind of deal last Friday.
It's so cruel using a dead person's name to cheat you.
Yes, ma'am.
How can anybody get lower than that?
They keep trying. Ben and I took Miss Bergstrom's crime report. The phony watch and pen and pencil set were booked as evidence. In the past 2 weeks, we'd received a half a dozen identical complaints from relatives or friends of lately deceased persons. The swindler, or con man, as he likes to be called in his trade, gets the names of lately deceased persons from the obituary column or the military casualty list in the newspapers. Then he fixes up some cheap article of merchandise with appropriate engraving and calls on the friends and relatives of the deceased. He pretends to know nothing about the death of the person whom he claims placed the order for the merchandise. In almost every case, the friend or relative agrees to pay for the articles at some exorbitant price. For the con man, it's a lucrative racket. For the public, a vicious one. Wednesday, December 15th, Ben and I looked up an informant, a former con man.
What do you think of it, fellas? Been in business for 2 months, doing fine. What do you think of it?
Looks great, Judge. Nice setup.
Finest baby laundry in South Los Angeles. That's why I advertise. Hey, you don't think that's too broad, do you?
No, I don't think so, Judd. You got some nice equipment here. Baby laundry. How'd you ever get started?
Father-in-law set me up with a loan. Says he got tired of me trying to sell him bum watches.
Well, that's a good break for you, Judd. Say, you got a couple of minutes? We'd like to talk to you.
Sure thing. Come on back here.
Okay.
Fine, thanks.
Yeah, I'm squared away, living a solid life. Not bad at all, you know. It surprised me.
You ever see any of the old gang, Jud?
Not much, no. Some of the old grifters look me up now and then, try to touch me. I'll go. Hey, here you are. Pull one up.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, fellas, what can I do for you?
Well, we'd like to know how close you got your ear to the ground, Judd. There's a gang of bunks in town. They're working hard.
What pitch they using?
They're working the obits, casualty lists. Thought maybe you might be able to help us.
I don't know. How long you been going?
Last couple of weeks. Had half a dozen reports on them.
That's one thing they never could tap me for. Obituary racket. Lousiest racket there is.
Can you do anything for us?
I heard one little rumble about it. 4 or 5 guys in the con mob. That right?
We know that, Judd. Where can we look for them?
You know my position. When I quit the game, I quit. The only contacts I make are when some of the old boys come around for a touch.
Well, how much have you heard about the gang?
What I said, there's 4 or 5 of them out of the Middle West, I think.
You got any idea at all where we could start looking?
Well, I can start checking for you. You nailed any of them yet?
We've got to find them before we can arrest them, Judd.
Yeah, well, as I say, when I quit the game, I quit. But maybe I can take a few soundings for you. Can't promise you anything. I'm strictly on the up and up.
Okay, Judd. You know where to get in touch with us. We'll appreciate anything you can do.
Yeah, well, you helped me plenty of times, fellas. Wouldn't hurt a bit to tab that bunch. I'll walk out with you.
Yeah, see, you got all the machines going. Baby laundry business must be pretty good, huh?
It's a staple commodity, fellas. Kids always need a fresh change. Just a minute. Yeah, look at this. Just look at the size of it.
Yeah.
You ever see anything so small in your life? It's cute, huh?
Yeah, what is it?
New kind of soakers, I think. Let's see the label here. Yeah, Mother Greg Super Soakers. Kids things, they sure give me a wallet, you know.
Hey, we might as well check the office while we're here, Ben. Can I use your phone, Judd?
Yeah, right over there on the wall. You got change?
Yeah, thank you. I have.
City Hall.
2572.
2572.
Bunko fugitive, Brian.
Joe Friday, Tom. Anything doing?
Yeah, Joe. I think we might have a lead on those bunks working the obituary racket.
What do you got?
They reached a woman in Highland Park. Where are you?
Baby laundry.
Oh. Well, it's a Mrs. Westerly. Her daughter was killed in an auto accident. Last night they came around and sold the woman a watch her daughter was supposed to have ordered. Also a necklace and pen and pencil set. $250. Usual junk.
Did you talk to this Mrs. Westerly?
Yeah, we took the report. The man's description, his M.O., the rest all match up.
What's the lead?
She watched the man when he left her house.
Yeah?
He got in a taxi cab.
10:30 a.m. While Sergeants Bryant and Ullery got out a broadcast on the suspect, Ben and I drove to the offices of the cab company where we contacted the special agent. He helped us check the way bills for the preceding night. On the way bill for cab 213, we found the trip listed. Starting point, the intersection nearest the Westerly home. Destination, a hotel on South Flower Street. We went to the hotel and interviewed the desk clerk. From the description we gave him, he identified the man as Fred G. Norris from Minneapolis. At least that's the way he'd signed the hotel register. The clerk told us Norris wasn't in. We had him show us Norris's room. In his suitcases, we found quantities of dime store costume jewelry, monogrammed, and 24 cheap wristwatches and wallets and handbags done in poor quality imitation leather. Also a portable engraving set. The clerk told us that Norris was expected back shortly. We told him to say nothing to the suspect when he arrived. We called the office and arranged for a stakeout at the hotel, and we drove back to the office. 1 p.m. They told us Norris had been recognized from his description and picked up by Unit 17R on the way back to his hotel shortly before noon. Ben and I joined Sergeants Ullery and Bryant in the interrogation room where they were questioning the suspect. He looked about 40 years old, white, male American, about 6 feet tall, 170 pounds. He would admit nothing. Bryant kept questioning him.
You're wasting our time on your own, Norris. Face it. You were playing a rough game and you lost. Now, how about it?
You're going to feel pretty silly when you find out you got the wrong guy.
Who do you work for, Fred?
You can do what you want about investigating me. You haven't a thing to hold me on.
There's no use wasting any more time. You got that list of victims?
Yeah. These are the ones that tabbed Norris.
Thank you.
A couple more here, Joe.
Thanks, Ben. Hello, Miss Bergstrom there, please. Oh, this is Sergeant Friday, Miss Bergstrom. Bunko detail? Yeah, we picked up a suspect. We'd like to see if you can identify him. Would it be all right if we sent a card for you right now? All right, fine. Thank you very much. Bye.
Look, I can't sit here all day. I have business to attend to.
Quiet, Norris. He's on the phone.
Hello, Miss Cronin there, please. This is Sergeant Friday calling, Miss Cronin. Bunko detail? Yes, ma'am, that's right. I'm sorry to disturb you, but we have a suspect in custody down here. Yes, ma'am?
Hey, Sergeant.
Could you come down to City Hall right away?
Sergeant.
Would you hold on just a minute, please? Thank you. Yeah, Norris?
You got me.
2:58 p.m. We informed the victims that the special show-up had been canceled. And we called in a stenographer and had her take Fred Norris's statement. In addition to listing the crimes he committed, he also told us that there were 6 men in the Bunko gang besides himself. He gave us the names and descriptions of each one of them. He stated that they'd been operating in Los Angeles for the past 4 months. Norris said that none of them had ever met the leader of their Bunko gang. The only contact they had with the leader was through one of the older gang members, a man by the name of Wesley Fisher. Before Norris was taken to Central Jail for booking, he gave us the address of the house where he had been living with the other gang members. Norris's information on the suspects was checked through R&I. We got one mate, Wesley Fisher. He had one prior arrest 2 years before on a grand theft charge, but he'd been released for lack of evidence. 3:15 p.m., together with Sergeants Ullery and Bryant and 2 men from Metro Squad, we drove out to the address given us by Fred Norris. It turned out to be a neat-looking bungalow in the West Hollywood area. Well, let's go.
We can take the front door, Joe.
Yeah. Say, Tom.
Yeah?
You want to have Johnson and Brewer cover the back of the place, please?
Okay, Joe. Maury and I will cover the side.
Thanks. Let's go, man.
Did you want to see the people who live here?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you want to check for the termites now? I'm Mrs. Callahan, the owner.
No, ma'am. We want to see the tenants.
Oh, I'm afraid you're a little late.
Is that so?
They just moved out, bagging.
are listening to Dragnet, authentic stories of your police force in action.
You'll be amazed when you compare Fatima with other long cigarettes.
Buy a pack. You'll find Fatimas now cost the same. Light a Fatima.
Ah, that's different.
What a difference.
Yes, friends, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Quality of tobaccos. The finest Turkish and domestic varieties, extra mild and superbly blended, to give you a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette.
Quality of manufacture. Smooth, plump cigarettes, rolled in the finest paper money can buy.
Quality, even to the appearance of the bright, clean yellow package, carefully wrapped and sealed to bring you Fatima's rich, fresh, extra mild flavor.
Try comparing Fatima yourself. Fatimas now cost the same as other long cigarettes, but your first puff will tell you...
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Ask your dealer for Fatima, the quality king-size cigarette. Best of all long cigarettes. Start enjoying Fatima tomorrow.
Wednesday, December 15th, 4 p.m. We made a thorough check of the house, which the 6 suspects had just vacated. We found nothing that would help us. We talked to the owner of the house where the suspects had been living. She told us that she'd rented the place, furnished to them, about 3 months before. She identified Wesley Fisher's mugshot, but she told us that he'd used the name of Charles Wilder. She also recognized each of the other gang members from the descriptions that Fred Norris had given us. She told us that while they were living there, the men seemed to keep odd hours and that they had a car. She told us that she'd taken the license number of the car the day the men moved in. The number was checked with DMV. It was registered in the name of Wesley Fisher, 1008 California Street. It's a transient hotel. The manager told us Fisher had moved about 9 months ago. There was no forwarding address. We got out an all-points bulletin on Wesley Fisher requesting that all occupants in his car be held for investigation of grand theft. Thursday, December 16th, 8 a.m. Oliver Ray Bryant, Ben, and I met with Captain McCauley.
Where are they getting all this junk they're palming off? Where's their source of supply?
The guy we picked up, Norris, told us they brought a good supply of it out with him from the Middle-West.
That hotel room Norris had downtown, they were using that for a warehouse. They didn't want to keep the stuff at the house they were living in.
How are they hitting? Any possibility of stakeouts?
No, not unless we cover every name in the columns.
You might have to try it. Something's got to be done. Look at these. 2 more this morning, straight out of the obituary column.
Took one family for $90. Another one for $60.
How about that last run through the stats office? Help you any?
They pulled some more mugs for us. I'm going to show them to the victims this morning.
How about this Norris? You think he's come up with everything?
We were up talking to him again at county jail yesterday. Didn't have anything new, Skipper.
We dropped in at the sheriff's bunco detail. They've got one new case, same M.O. Description comes close to one of the guys. The victim was the father of a Navy flyer lost overseas. They sold him a gold watch chain that his son was supposed to have bought him for a present. Solid brass.
The sheriff's men got anything new?
We've been working pretty close with him. Nothing new.
Excuse me. Bunko fugitive, Captain McCauley.
I talked to Joe Friday.
Oh, yeah, hold on. You, Friday.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Joe, this is Judd. Can you meet me out at my place?
What do you got?
Name Wesley Fisher mean anything to you?
8:30 a.m. Ben and I drove out and met with Judd at his home. He was still in his bathrobe when he met us at the door. He told us he had an important appointment downtown at 9 o'clock and he was in a hurry. We talked to him while he shaved.
Hope you fellas don't mind. Can't miss this date, lining up some new business, you know. Well, it's all right, Judd. Go right ahead. Yeah, I gotta move fast on these things before they cool, you know.
Well, what you saying with us, Judd? What's the story?
Well, I don't know what's worse. Brother Max called me this morning. You remember my brother Max, don't you? No, I don't think so. I watched the Pink Parrot bar in South Main. When you were in to see me the other day about those grifters you want, I gave my brother a tumble on it. Told him to keep an eye open. Hand me that towel, will you?
Oh, yeah. Here you go.
Thanks. They're all steamed up.
What'd Max come up with?
Well, he's night bartender at the Parrot, you know. Now, last night he spotted a couple of guys at the bar. Had some day-old newspapers.
Uh-huh.
They were sitting there with the papers turned to the obituary column, checking off names, writing down addresses. Max is pretty sharp that way. Spotted him right off. Lousy razor.
Does Max know these two men he spotted?
No, not by name, but he knew that one of them lived in the hotel next door to the bar. The hotel night clerk came in for a beer, and Max asked him about it. He tabbed one of the guys as Wesley Fisher. Did he have anything on the other man? No, the clerk told Max he doesn't live at the hotel, but he spends a lot of time there with Fisher.
Well, had he seen Fisher and this other guy at the bar before?
Yeah, Max says he's been in before. Got lashed up a couple times.
Mm-hmm. Say, would it be okay to contact your brother at his home, Judd?
Sure.
We don't want to contact him at the bar.
Yeah, sure thing. Get your address as soon as I'm finished here. He just moved. I don't know. Hope I didn't get you guys out here for nothing.
We appreciate it, Judd. Looks good.
Seems to fit. That hotel down there, it's a hang-up. Come on, man. Angles are all there.
Let's hope Fisher is. 8:53 a.m. We arrived at the hotel on South Main Street. We checked with the desk clerk, who told us that Wesley Fisher had room 37. As far as he knew, Fisher was in his room. We got a pass key from the clerk and went up to room 37, where we found Fisher and another man. He identified himself as Raymond Breen, one of the gang members identified by Fred Norris. We also found a small supply of cheap watches and pen and pencil sets in Fisher's car. It was parked near the hotel. It was impounded. We took both suspects back to the city hall. We questioned them separately in the interrogation room. Breen was first, but he refused to answer our questions. He was taken back to the squad room, and Wesley Fisher was brought in.
Sit down, Fisher.
Thank you.
Guess you know why you're here.
No, I haven't the least idea.
All right, then we'll show you. Do you know Fred Norris?
Fred Norris. Name sounds a little familiar. Can't quite place it.
Well, he places you pretty well. He says he worked with you in Breen up till a couple of days ago.
That's so?
Yeah. Says he lived with you in that bungalow out in West Hollywood.
That's so. Norris, West Hollywood. When was that?
2 days ago, Fisher. Your landlady identified your mugs. She even had the license number of your car.
What's it prove, gentlemen?
Proves you're lying. You and Breen worked together. You did work with Norris. You're part of one of the filthiest rackets going.
Gentlemen, you're making a bad mistake.
No, there's no mistake, Fisher. Your picture's been identified by at least a half a dozen victims. Now, you can go on playing coy all you want, but we can prove that the pen and pencil sets that you sold some of the victims are identical to the ones we found in your car.
I haven't any idea what you're talking about. Believe me, that's the truth.
You wouldn't know the truth if it followed you, mister. Now, look, maybe you're great at conning old men and young girls, but don't try to pass any of it here.
Now, just a moment.
No, you listen, you two-bit thief. I couldn't begin to tell you off for the rotten things you've been pulling off in this town for the past 3 months. That young girl who lost her boyfriend overseas, that widow out in Hollywood, the old man in Highland Park whose wife passed away. You must have felt pretty sharp cheating them out of a few bucks. Maybe you don't remember, mister, but we do and they do. And you're going to pay for them.
You all through?
I'm through, Fisher. You're just starting.
I have nothing further to say, gentlemen. You can talk to my lawyer.
We'll give him your new address.
Yes.
County jail. Suspects Wesley Fisher and Raymond Breen were booked and transported to the county jail. Both of them were positively identified by the victims. Warrants were obtained for the 3 suspects, Norris, Fisher, and Breen. They were arraigned and held to answer at a preliminary hearing on several counts of grand theft. During the next 2 weeks and through the Christmas holidays, identical complaints of bunco operations continued to come in. Friends and relatives of lately deceased persons were still being victimized. The gang's operations continued as usual. There was only one change. The crime report showed that a woman was now operating in the obituary racket along with the male suspects. Christmas came and went. On New Year's Eve, Ben and I were assigned to standby duty. A few minutes before 8 p.m., we got a call from the county jail that Wesley Fisher wanted to see us. Went to the 10th floor of the jail, the interview room.
I'm not going to take all the heat. They're in just as deep as I am. If they can't do right by me, I'll square it up myself. I'll tell you everything I know.
Go ahead, Fisher. What is it?
Her name's Betty McGraw. She's the one you've been looking for. The whole idea was hers. She planned it out. She got everybody together. It was her show.
Where can we find her?
213 Foster, apartment 8.
Wesley Fisher gave a complete statement of all his crimes and also implicated the other members. He told us Betty McGraw was his girlfriend. She'd come up with the idea for the obituary racket. She gathered the men together for the job, and it had been planned that she was to stay in the background. In case of trouble, she would furnish aid to the gang members in the form of bail bond money and lawyers. She received a percentage of the take from each of the gang members. We checked her through R&I. She had a criminal history dating back 11 years. We obtained her mugshot. 10:30 p.m. We went out to the address Fisher gave us. A maid answered the door. She told us that the McGraw woman was not there, that she'd gone to a New Year's Eve celebration at a downtown hotel. It was 11:15 when we got there. We identified ourselves to the special officer at the hotel and showed him the mugshot of Betty McGraw. He thought he'd seen her at the main bar. We started looking.
Sure do pack 'em in.
Yeah. Say, excuse me, please. Can I get through here? Thank you.
Sorry, excuse me. Hey, Joe, move this way. I think we can get through.
Okay, do you see her yet?
No, they're jammed in there. I can't see a thing. But... Hey, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Can you see down at the end of the bar there?
Where?
In the black dress?
Oh, yeah. That's her.
Would you let us through here, please? Excuse me. Sorry. Joe?
Right behind you.
Is your name Betty McGraw? Is your name Betty McGraw?
Yeah, I'm Betty McGraw. I don't know you. Who are you anyway?
Police officer. We'd like to see you outside.
Oh, please. I'm saying it is. This is where the party is, right here.
Let's go, lady, outside.
Is there a bar outside? I didn't know there was a bar outside.
Okay, Ben.
Come on, Lenny.
I don't know you at all. I'm not going. I'm not going to you. There it is. Happy New Year! Happy New Year!
No use trying to get through this. We'll have to wait.
Yeah. Well, Happy New Year, Joe.
Yeah, same to you.
Maybe next year we'll have it off.
I don't know why. I always cry when I hear that song. No reason, I just cry.
Yeah?
Every year, they play it and I cry. No reason at all.
You got one this year, lady. Come on.
The story you've just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On March 28th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 93, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. In the past few weeks, I've asked you to send me the names of cigarette dealers who are out of Fatimas. You see, the demand for Fatimas is so great that I want to make sure that all of you can buy them. So keep your letters coming. If you find a dealer fresh out of Fatimas, let me know and we'll have something done about it. Write your dealer's name and address on a card and mail it to me, Jack Webb, Post Office Box 951, Hollywood 28. That's Jack Webb, Post Office Box 951, Hollywood 28. Now for you, Mr. Dealer. The coming holiday season will find new thousands insisting on Fatima quality. So step up your order for Fatimas tomorrow. Get in on the increasing demand for the quality long cigarettes.
The remaining members of the Bunko gang were apprehended and brought to trial. All of them, including the gang leader, Elizabeth McGraw, were tried and convicted of grand theft. They are now serving their terms in the state penitentiary. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, the best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, portions transcribed from Los Angeles. Coming up, We the People, then Screen Directors Playhouse on NBC.
The American Broadcasting Company presents Pat Novak For Hire.
Sure, I'm Pat Novak. For hire. I got a couple of boats down on Pier 19 on the San Francisco waterfront. Sometimes I rent them out, but I found out it's easier to keep my budget healthy by risking my health in other ways. So I work around doing odd jobs. You can take that any way you like. But the best you can say for it is that it beats begging. At least you don't always limp. If your luck's in, you can keep a half lap ahead of the bill collectors if you don't let it go to your head. I did once. I helped a guy who owned 7 hotels convince a blonde in San Rafael that her memory wasn't that good after all. The payoff was too rich for my blood. I got the idea that with that kind of money, I could take over the gambling joints up around Lake Tahoe. It took them 3 days to show me I was wrong. I'd worked my way down from the gold-plated joints to a place called the Broken T, where they still recognized a dollar as currency. I was beginning to figure how long it'd take me to walk back to the bay when the help came along. He was a little guy with a pair of eyes I wouldn't trust with anything I wanted again. The kind of quiet, dark clothes that'd make it easy to get lost in an alley. He knew me.
Well, Novak, not doing so hard, are you?
I eat.
You want to make a quick buck?
There must be a reason. Tell me that first.
I'm hot. I shook the wheels down for a flock of dough.
You call that trouble?
Not yet. But I'd like to look ahead. How do I know these guys like it that I got all their money?
If it hurts you, give it back. They'll take it.
I got a better idea. I want to take it down to San Francisco.
Look, Crocker owns the Southern Pacific. If you got an urge to travel, talk to him. If you got a proposition, spread it out.
I'm driving down. It's a lonely road. I want you to go along as a bodyguard.
If these guys are out to hijack your roll, 2 of us won't stop them any more than 1. They come in bunches when they want to.
Do you want the job, or are you going to talk me out of it?
I'll ride down with you for $200.
You charge a lot for a ride.
You said it's risky, remember?
Okay, here's 50. You get the rest in San Francisco. I see you outside for 5 minutes. My name's Brown. I'll be waiting in my car.
Brown, huh?
Yeah, Brown. John Brown. Want to make something of it?
How can you? He was a quiet guy. We drove along for a couple of hours, and you could have repeated all he said on one deep breath. I kept watching the cars along the road, waiting for the muscle boys to show up, but nothing happened. Pretty soon I got the feeling that they weren't after him at all. I guess he'd seen too many movies. I finished off a pack of cigarettes as we got down out of the mountains and got him to stop at a roadside joint for reloads. He wouldn't leave the car, so I was all alone when the girl came up to me at the bar.
You going down to San Francisco?
Something like that.
You got room for me?
How far are you going?
That depends on who I'm with.
You might be handy at that. The car's without a heater. I don't have to own it.
So you'll keep one hand on the wheel.
So you better ask the guy who does. He's sitting out in the car.
Why don't he come in?
Don't build him up so fast. I got a car, too.
Where'd you get it? Steal it?
You selling medical insurance, maybe?
Why?
You're going to need it if you keep elbowing into my face.
Speaking of elbows, what do you mean trying to muscle in on my dame?
Are you 2 together?
Yeah, why?
That's what I've been wondering. Why? So long, sucker.
What do you make of that?
I'd say you're out. You don't have to slide.
You're to blame for this.
Yeah. And tomorrow I'm going to make it rain.
I can start a storm right now.
Go right ahead. You got the wind.
Wait.
You cooled him nice, stranger. What started that?
Bad habits.
Yeah?
Uh-huh. Too many cigarettes. I guess I didn't have to hit the guy. But I was all geared up over the ride. I had to take it out on somebody. Outside, the air was cold and clear. A river made soothing noises in the darkness. I figured it'd be an easy night from then on in. But Brown was having the fidgets.
Come on, Novak. Let's get going.
Where's the dame?
What dame?
One came out here. A hitchhiker. Wanted to ride to town.
I didn't see any dame. Come on, let's go.
That's queer.
What's queer? Let's go, let's go.
Suddenly you're nervous. What's the matter?
When I need a doctor, Novak, I know where to find one.
Yeah? Can you find one whose shakes synchronize with yours? Otherwise, he's going to have a tough time with your pulse. From there on into town, John Brown didn't say a word. When we came across the Bay Bridge, he stopped in the terminal and made a phone call. Then we drove up to his place, a big corner apartment house up near the Civic Center. He told me to wait in the car while he went in to put away the money. I sat and smoked cigarettes and watched the dawn begin to light up the long, empty streets. I must have been there half an hour before anything happened. And then it all began to happen at once, starting with Hellman, a homicide detective with a grudge against the world that he takes out on me.
I hope I didn't keep you waiting, Novak.
What got you out of bed, Hellman? Can't be insomnia. That takes conscience.
You'd be the sort to know about that. Mind if I look the car over?
Why not? I didn't steal this one. I prefer a roadster.
John Brown, huh? Now, there's a name. Where have I heard that before?
That's a foreign name. Polish, I think.
That's not where I heard it. It was broadcast in connection with a stolen car.
Try again. The keys, see?
So maybe he was careless and left his keys in his car.
Yeah, maybe I'm whimsical and changed my name to Brown. Go on, Hellman. You can't pin anything on me.
No. Give me the keys.
What for?
I'm looking in the trunk. We got a tip.
Not on this crate. We just got in from Tahoe. Nobody knows we're here.
Sure. And if you aren't here, I guess there's nothing in the trunk either.
I'll bite. What'd you find?
A body. A girl's body. I'm not intruding, am I?
Not on me. You better get Brown. He's in the apartment there.
Sure. But won't you be lonely?
Look, Brown hired me to ride down from Tahoe with him. He cleaned up at the tables and wanted protection for his role. It's his car and his girl. Let's get him.
All right, come on. Oh, Brown listed. Nervous. Upset. Maybe you need a rest.
Framed.
Sure, somebody else did it. Shame on them. Come on, Novak.
The girl was a pickup, a hitchhiker. Why should he kill her?
I got a better question for you. Where can I get a lawyer?
I saw a purse with the body. Let's look it over.
Don't tell me you didn't rob her, too.
The purse didn't turn up much. Some keys, a little mad money, makeup stuff. A letter to Alice Stone with an address out in the Potrero district. The letter was no good, just a guy trying to patch up a split. I had a hunch that Brown must have known Alice. That was the only way the killing made sense. I needed to get some dope on Brown. I needed to know about Alice. Hellman took Brown's address off the registration card, and I couldn't see where that had helped me any. No one had seen us together all the way down from Tahoe. Even if Brown were picked up, he could swear he'd never seen her before. With a car listed as stolen, he was a cinch to prove it. Yeah, I needed help bad. So I started looking for my old friend Jocko Madigan, an ex-doctor turned boozer who had more connections around town than the water department. I ran him down in a trap on Ellis Street trying to hold back the recession in liquor sales.
Hello, Patsy, my boy. Join me. This is the first one today.
Look, I'm in trouble, Jocko.
You're in trouble. Think how I feel.
What's the matter? Sick?
No, just worried. I was reading in the paper here that the good ship Clyde Harris went down off the New England coast last night with 10,000 cases of scotch on board.
Yeah, there's some left. Listen, Jocko, I'm in a jam.
When did that become news?
I was up at Tahoe, and a guy hired me to drive him down here.
He didn't know you.
It turns out the car is stolen, and there's a body in it. And the guy's disappeared.
Well, I don't blame him.
The body belonged to a girl named Alice Stone at this address.
10,000 cases of scotch. Can you imagine that?
And the way I figure it, the girl must have known the killer. I'm not very sure that John Brown, who claims his car was stolen, is innocent either. It's mighty strange that he left the car keys lying around.
What'd you want me to do?
Get on the grapevine. Find out if this John Brown is tied up in the rackets. The same for Alice Stone. Find out if they ran around with each other. Whatever you can about them.
All right, Patsy, but you'll have to wait. I've got to catch up on my drinking first.
Can't you lay off this stuff for a little while?
Are you telling me how to live my life again? You who consort with murderers, car thieves, and women of dubious ways? Push the bottle over here.
Look, Jocko. See if you can put the finger on a neat little guy with a pair of con man's eyes. Black hair, toy mustache, and dresses like Dapper Dan. About 150 pounds.
Imagine you trying to tell me how to live. You who've got more bad habits than a dope fiend's convention.
The guy goes for dark, expensive clothes. He doesn't talk much unless he has to.
When I drink, I get the hangover. All you have to do is breathe regularly, and trouble's all over town. If you had any social conscience, you'd go somewhere and hang yourself. I can't understand how I tolerate having you around.
Will you get a line on the guy for me?
From the way you described him, it ought to be a lay-down cinch. There's only about 10,000 men in town who'd fit that description. Will 100 or so of them be enough?
I want one.
It's a long gamble. But try, will you, Jocko?
Imagine that, with the ocean full of ships hauling guano, bones, cattle, oil, lumber, pineapple, sugar, old newspapers, and gunny sacks. The one boat that has to sink.
Will you get on it?
Oh, there's no hurry. It's only you at stake. So long, lover.
I grabbed some breakfast, picked up a cab, and went out to the address of Alice Stone. It matched a wooden house that looked 2 years older in Utah that was trying to lie about it with a new plaster front and a fresh set of doorknobs. It looked like it had been built by an amateur who read the blueprints upside down. A dame answered the door. She was about tie-pin high to a 6-footer, and she had red hair. The heavy, wavy kind that made you think she must be healthy. And it wasn't hard to do anyway. The way she filled out her morning coat didn't leave much to worry about, except the seams. She could talk, too.
Neighborhood's improving.
You know Alice Stone?
Sure, she lives here. I might have known she'd see you first.
Who are you?
My name's Skip Harper, and Alice isn't home. What can you do with that?
How do you know I want to? Maybe I'm a salesman.
Look, mister, you aren't fooling anybody. You look about as much like a salesman as I do a decoy duck. Now, what do you want with Alice? Or do you have to be particular?
I can't use her. She's dead.
A salesman. With 5 o'clock shadow at 10... Did you say dead?
Yeah. They found her in a car downtown this morning.
You're a cop.
You're wrong. Why should it worry you?
What do you mean?
Do you know who did it?
I don't know anything. I just don't like jams. Tell me how it happened.
We were coming down from Tahoe. She was in a roadside hamburger trap. She asked me for a ride, and I sent her out to talk to a guy who owns the car. The next time I saw her, she was tucked away in the trunk.
Why'd a guy kill her, just like that?
That's what I'm after. Maybe he just didn't like James. There's probably a better reason.
You think maybe he knew her?
Yeah. That's where you can earn a gold star. Did you know anybody by the name of John Brown?
Describe him.
He was playing the wheel at the Broken T up near Tahoe. Smooth little guy, about 2 sizes over a jockey. Waxed mustache, a pair of eyes you could use to freeze fish.
So, that one. Oh, yeah. I know him.
Give me an introduction.
His name's Brown, all right. I didn't know his first name before. He's a small-time hustler around town. Used to take Alice out now and then when he felt like tearing up a nightclub. Cops arrest him yet?
Hellman, a homicide dick, is knocking on his door about now. I don't expect him to be home.
No, he won't be. He has hideouts.
Name some of them.
I'm afraid to.
He can't hurt you. He's too busy playing cops and robbers.
You don't know Brown.
I gotta get to know him. Give.
I don't want to get mixed up in anything.
Neither do I, but I am. I need Brown.
Why don't you forget Brown?
I'd be bad manners.
What's wrong with bad manners? I know some that are fun.
Yeah, you would.
More fun than Brown will ever show you.
You'll keep. He won't.
Come here. Will this keep? Do you think?
You have a nice way of changing the subject. But still, where's Brown's hideout?
I won't tell you. He'll kill me.
Yeah, that's a gamble. I'm on the spot, and that's a fact. Talk to me.
Oh, I hate men.
Never mind your hobby. Give me Brown.
I hate you, you big, ugly, muscle-bound.
Brown.
You're hurting me.
Make me stop. Tell me where Brown is.
All right. There's a hideout, a little shack out near the beach.
Narrow it down.
Let go, I'm telling you. And I hope it's the last thing you hear.
From Skip's place out to the beach wasn't much of a drive. I went up and over Twin Peaks, watching the city and the bay spread out beneath the road like a giant map. The sun was working for the Chamber of Commerce that day, and the whole region was... Every backyard was full of clothes blowing in the wind. As the highway neared the beach, it began to turn up bunches of kids on their way to cash in on the weather. John Brown's hideaway was one of those old pioneer shacks built out near the ocean in the old days by guys who wanted to get away from it all. It was painted a weather-beaten brown, tilted a little on one side, and it looked like something that had been washed ashore in a bad storm a long while ago. I knocked on the door, but all that bought me was echoes, so I made a door out of one of the side windows. The inside of the place looked like something out of a hobo jungle. None of the furniture matched. The best piece in sight would have made a junk man sneer. There was a broken-down setup for poker and a tired double bed, and after that you were practically on your own. The kitchen didn't turn up anything but a flock of ants and some empty bottles. I began to get the feeling Brown must have had 2 hideouts, or else he'd left town. It shows you how wrong you can be.
All right, Hustler. Reach.
You walk soft.
Practice makes perfect. Turn around slowly.
Mm-hmm.
How come you're working without a gun?
Who are you?
This is my place, so you tell me.
My name's Novak. I'm looking for a guy named Brown.
Well, you're all right so far. I'm Brown. Who tipped you off I'd be here?
I don't remember.
Oh, you don't remember. So let me guess. It was that punk Venanti.
Never heard of him.
Never mind the rube routine. You got Hustler written all over you. What did Venanti send you here for? Does he think I know too much?
If I was sent to rub you, do you think I'd come without a gun, start using your head?
I like the way it's working. Tell me more.
I can't tell you anything. You don't fit my blueprints.
Don't get smart with me, Hustler. Venanti sent you. Tell me what for.
If you're Brown, you don't need any new worries. You've got an armful already.
I'm feeling no pain.
The cops have your car down at the station.
What for?
They don't like them with dead bodies inside.
Steady now. Let's have that again.
A dame named Alice Stone was found stuffed in your trunk. You're hotter than 4 stoves. Laugh yourself out of that.
If you know so much, why aren't you yelling copper?
Don't worry. They're on their way. I'm trying to get the key to the killing.
If this turns out to be a frame...
Look, I saw the guy who did it. I'm the only one who did. That's better than your gun, so treat me nice.
If you saw the murder, you can help me out.
Sure. What do I get for it, a merit badge?
Things are coming too fast. I got to do some checking.
You better spill what you know, or else I'm liable to forget mine.
You got a nice lever there, Hustler. If you can back up your talk. If the dame's dead.
Look who's bargaining.
Before I tell you anything, I need to check around.
Just wait a while. The cops will tell you everything.
I like to find out things for myself.
You will. I got a good grapevine in the county jail.
Now I'll do it the hard way.
You forget I have the lever on you now.
Yeah. Remind me to get scared about that. Try some aspirins for that.
I woke up twice before I decided to make it stay that way. The house was so quiet I could hear someone playing the piano several houses away. It was a nice, clean sound, neat and full of try. No wise guys in it figuring fancy double crosses. No dead bodies. No policemen who argued with their knuckles instead of their heads. Probably some girl who thought a blackjack was a card game. I lay there listening to the music for a while, and I got up and brushed out my clothes. Now, there were 3 places I could find Brown. He wouldn't dare go to his home. He wouldn't return to the hideout. That left Skip's place. On the way over, I stopped at a drugstore and phoned Jocko to find out if he'd turned up anything. If you left out the hiccups, it went like this.
Hello, you reprobate renegade from all that's good and holy.
Skip the overture. Did you check on those people I asked you about?
Sure, I found out about them. Old Dr. Madigan and his crystal ball. He knows all and he knows all and like that there.
Tighten it up and tell me some.
That girl Alice Stone, you remember?
How can I forget?
She lived with a dame in the Potrero named Skip Harper. Nice people. The landlord served eviction notices every day except legal holidays.
So they liked a good time, then what?
Then she owns a half interest in a gambling joint around Lake Tahoe. It's not much of a place. They say the roulette wheels have so many magnets hung around them, the nails began to come out of the walls. Her partner runs the joint, and she shills the suckers in from down here.
How'd you make it the wheels crooked?
I have my informants. I have a network of good drinking folk who get around and hear things all the time. You'd be surprised how careless a guy can get with talk when he's got his elbow in a barroom ashtray. Now, as I was saying...
If the wheels are fixed, how come Brown was able to shake the joint down for $50,000?
I don't know how he did it. Maybe he was wired, too. All I know is that they've got better control of the ball than Bob Feller ever had on his best day. It's easy to believe if you know Skip's partner.
Introduce me.
Name's Venanti.
What's that again?
The partner's name's Venanti. He's wanted in 8 states and Cuba.
Venanti. I'll remember the name. What'd you get on Brown?
John Brown? Oh, swell guy. Helped free the slaves. A friend of man. A tribute to the
I've
nation.
heard that song. Now let's talk about the local Brown.
Small-time hustler. Petty larceny stuff.
You didn't get any tie-ins with Venanti?
Oh, yeah. He was up at the gambling joint near Tahoe last night. Cleaned the place out. $50,000. That would buy a lot of schnapps.
It's beginning to fit together.
No doubt your mighty intellect has found the key.
I can count up to 10 if I don't wear mittens.
Sometimes 13, I'll bet. Well, who did what to who?
Brown's got a partner working for him.
You don't say.
I'm going over and shake it out of Brown. He must know where the guy's hiding.
Well, don't go looking into too many auto trunks. Those things bite. So long, lover.
What Jocko told me began to give me some hope. The thing the picture needed was one more man, and a partner for Brown would round it out nicely. Yeah, Brown must have figured someone to try to hijack his role and hired a friend to bring it down to San Francisco. I didn't explain the killing. I didn't explain a lot of things. But it was a lead to the guy who could explain it. I needed Brown. So I gunned the car over the hills toward Skip Harper's place. I began to feel better. I was thinking how Hellman would look when I dumped the killer in his lap. There was a crowd along the street in front of Skip's place. Just as I drew up, Hellman came out on the porch. As I got out of the car, one of the neighbors pointed to me.
Novak, huh? They gave me a description, but I didn't think it was you. The guy they described sounded human.
Your jokes stink, Hellman. Try imitating birds or juggling.
The bird imitations are for you, Novak. You'll be singing to the DA any minute now. Come on in the house.
Ah, it's Brown. Where's the dame?
What did you do, kill her, too?
Come off it, Hellman. You can't pin this on me.
I don't have to. The neighbors did it for me.
Why should I kill my alibi?
Because he wasn't. What did you do with the dame, Novak?
Why don't you try thinking for a change?
I do my poor best. For instance, I think you killed the dame in the car and then tried to saw it off in Brown. Then you caught Brown here this morning and killed him.
What for? Or don't you care?
For $50,000, Brown won at the Broken Tee up at Lake Tahoe.
The neighbors saw me come here. I must have seen Brown come here, too, after I'd left.
Nobody saw Brown come. Why didn't you buy a witness, Novak? You can afford it.
The dame's gone?
We haven't looked under the rugs.
How'd you get the dope on Brown winning all that dough?
Wayphone Tahoe, bright boy. You've heard about the telephone?
Vaguely. Who'd you talk to?
The police. And then a guy named Venanti. He says he remembers you following Brown out. And that the dame was with you, too.
It's a lie.
Sure. But the $50,000 is still missing.
Brown wasn't with me. He was a little guy.
It's the climate. He grew since you two dropped him here this morning.
I need some pictures.
Well, you drop Brown. The dame's going to drive you home. You proposition her on the way to help knock off Brown. She turns you down.
Not those kind of pictures. Are there any photographs around the house?
Yeah, there's some in the bedroom. Why?
Come on, let's look. The way she looked, she'd like cameras.
Here's one on the beach. What's she wearing?
That's a bathing suit. Here's the one. Towel.
Well, look at this nightclub gown. How do they hold those things up?
Thumbtacks. So that's Venanti. Look at the two of them posing in front of their sucker trap.
So what?
He's the guy who did it.
Sure, over the phone.
Did you phone him or he phone you?
He phoned.
You want him?
What for? I got you.
He's here in the city, hiding out at Brown's place at the beach. Here's the address.
What kind of a windy is this, Novak?
Pick him up, will you? He said he was at Tahoe, and he is in the city. It smashes his alibi.
All right, but if you're trying any fancy work...
Are you going after him, or do we waltz some more?
How to hold you?
I'll be around. You know that.
What are you going to do?
I got some cleaning up to do. There was only one place for Venanti to be. I headed the car out Potrero and down Bayshore Highway to the airport. I was betting everything on a hunch. Sometimes that's the way you have to play it. Sometimes hunches pay off. The plane I got was built for hurry. Skip still had her overnight bag in her hand when I walked in on them at the Broken Tee. Venanti began to act nervous when he saw me. Yeah, but not Skip. I began to wonder if she'd ever known how it felt to be frightened. You'd never guess it from the way she talked.
Hello, Novak. Don't you ever shave?
I had a close one just now.
Doesn't show.
You don't know where to look.
What do you want, Novak?
I got it.
Don't be cryptic, baby. It doesn't become you.
You don't act nervous. Does you care about jail?
Nobody's going to jail, Novak, except you, maybe.
I'd be nervous if I had to explain all those dead bodies back in Frisco.
We don't know anything about dead bodies. We've been up here for hours.
Yeah? I had a hunch that'd be your alibi.
That's no alibi, Novak. It's a fact.
It won't gel, Venanti. You're cooked.
Look, Novak, Brown deserved to die. He killed Alice, and before that he fixed the wires on the wheel so he could break this place. He robbed us of $50,000. We had a right to get it back.
Is that what Venanti told you?
That's the way it happened, Novak. There's $10,000 in it for you, if you can remember it that way, too.
$10,000? Easy there, Vin.
That was a little double talk, baby. He was trying to bribe me to dummy up on you.
Dummy up? I know what happened.
When you get through dreaming, try this for a bedtime story. Venanti hired Brown to pick up the winnings while he ran the table.
Then with Brown dead, Venanti was going to fly back here in his private plane for the same alibi he's using now. Only he'd own the broken teeth.
You're lying.
Shut up, Vin. Tell me more, Novak.
The plan began to sour up when Alice tried to thumb a ride. Alice knew him, so he killed her. He still needed to kill Brown, but he figured then he could hang the double killings on me. That'd make it even better.
You're on the needle, Novak.
The only trouble was that Brown wasn't home. Vin had to chase him. When he finally found him, Brown was at your place. I don't know what happened there, except that Venanti must have killed Brown before he had a chance to talk.
How was that? I'd gone to the store.
So when you come back, Brown's dead, and Venanti tells you he did it to recover the money.
Yeah. So you were going to double-cross me, baby.
He's lying, I tell you.
See if you can prove it to a jury.
I should have known.
In case you get any fancy ideas about trying to lie out of it, I got a witness to feel the motor of your plane. It's still hot.
A 10,000 offer still stands.
I need you to clear me.
Yeah. And I could use the sole ownership of this joint.
You wouldn't rat on me.
Oh, watch me, baby. I'll let you rot in jail.
Novak, I'll make it $25,000 if you help me quiet this dame.
You would, Ben? Start out by quieting this.
They were lousy shots. They both lived. That is, Venanti lived until he got a bad case of asthma in the San Quentin gas chamber. Skip got off with a flock of scars and some good advice from the judge to stay away from questionable characters. But advice is free, and Skip was the kind who went after the dough, so I see her now and then. She's gone honest, I think. Sometimes we toss dice, and I've known her to lose.
Heard on tonight's program were Ben Morris as Novak, John Galbraith as Inspector Hellman, Jack Lewis as Jocko, and Mary Milford as Skip, with Henry Leff, Jerry Walters, Kurt Martell, and Lucille Bliss. Special music by Otto Clare. Listen next week at this same time when over most of these stations, the American Broadcasting Company presents Pat Novak For Hire. This is ABC, the American Broadcasting Company.
The story you're about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to robbery detail. In 4 months, 15 food markets in your city have been held up and robbed. The bandit is well-dressed, well-armed. Your job, stop him.
You'll be amazed when you compare Fatima with other long cigarettes.
You'll find they now cost the same. But in Fatima, the difference is quality.
You see, Fatima is the quality king-size cigarette because it contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended. And Fatima is extra mild with a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. Because of its quality, its extra mildness, its better flavor and aroma, Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
So try comparing Fatima yourself. Fatimas now cost the same as other long cigarettes, but your first puff will tell you.
That's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Ask your dealer for Fatima, the quality king-size cigarette. Best of all long cigarettes. Start enjoying Fatima tomorrow.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Monday, February 12th. It was cold in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Thad Brown, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. It was 9:48 p.m. when we got to room 25A, interrogation room.
Have a chair, Mr. Pollard.
Yeah, thanks. Now, what is it that you want to tell us, sir?
Well, you have a cigarette, please?
Yeah. Here you are.
Thanks. I'm a little nervous. It's never happened to me before.
What's that?
Well, after I thought it over, I knew it wouldn't be any use to keep it up. I knew you'd find me.
I don't think I quite follow you.
I want to confess. That's why I came here.
Yeah?
I knew I was doing wrong. I just couldn't help myself.
What have you done?
I'm not trying to defend myself. I needed money, that's all. There wasn't anything else I could do.
Well, we still don't know what you're talking about, Pollard.
Been after me 4 months. Thought maybe you'd recognize me from the description. Some of the people must have seen me. Those food market holdups?
You pulled those robberies by yourself?
Yeah, 15 of them. Needed the money.
Pollard, is that your true name?
That's right, yeah, Frank Pollard.
You ever been arrested before?
Drunk charge, that's all. I don't know why I went wrong. It just did.
You ever done any big time?
No.
Well, why do you want to confess?
I want to get it off my mind. I want to tell somebody. Everybody. Look, call in newspapers. I'll give them the whole story. I'll tell them everything.
How many of those markets did you hold up, Pollard?
15.
You said you needed the money, is that right? Why?
Personal reasons. Now, look, you got a light again. The smoke's out.
Yeah. Here you are.
Yeah, thanks.
You used pretty much the same routine on all of the holdups, is that right?
Yeah, I only pulled one job a week. Figured that was the safest way. Dressed pretty well, like a salesman. Always had a briefcase with me.
Is that where you carried the gun?
Yeah. Always worked, too. I'd show up at closing time, get the manager in the back room, then pull the heist.
What kind of a gun did you use?
Service pistol. I had it from when I was in the Army.
How do you usually work it?
Oh, when I got the manager alone in the back office, I'd just pull a gun. I'd say, give me the money, all of it. They knew I wasn't fooling. They'd give me the dough.
You don't seem to fit the hold-up man's description too closely. Did you wear a mask on those jobs, is that it?
Sometimes I did, sometimes I didn't.
How about the man who worked with you? Where's he?
Wasn't anybody else, just me. Worked him alone. That's where you cops were wrong. You thought there were two of us, didn't you?
We thought so, yeah.
Pulled every job by myself. That's where I crossed you up. I knew what I was doing. I didn't need any help.
Well, how about that market out on West 7th that you held up last night? Did you pull that one alone, too?
Yeah, sure. I always work alone. Guess I had you guys going, huh?
Your story doesn't come very close. A man we're after doesn't use a service pistol. He never wears a mask, either.
What are you guys getting at? I told you I pull those robberies. I ought to know how it happened. I use a service pistol.
Did you use it in that robbery last night, the one out on West 7th?
Sure, I always use the same gun. Last night was no different.
You're wasting time, mister.
What do you mean? Look, I just want to confess.
No, sir, there wasn't any robbery last night. On further questioning, the suspect, Frank Pollard, broke down and admitted his confession was a lie. He explained that he wanted the publicity to impress a girlfriend. We had him fingerprinted and delivered him to the Georgia Street Hospital detail. It was filed on and then removed to the psychopathic ward at the county hospital for further examination and treatment. Our 4-month-old search for the market bandit went on. In the 2 weeks that followed, we tracked down more leads. They led nowhere. The real market bandit was still at large. On the night of February 25th, he hit again, this time at a supermarket out on Santa Monica Boulevard. We interviewed the manager, a Mr. Harry Talbot, in his small office at the rear of the store.
I guess I should have known better. I got the bulletin you sent out on the guy, his description, everything. I just wasn't thinking, I guess. He came in the market just before closing time, is that right? Yeah, a couple of minutes after 8. Looked well-dressed, had a briefcase under his arm. I fell for it like the rest of them. I thought he was a salesman.
Well, how about the man's description, sir?
About 5'11", 170 pounds, I guess. Gray suit.
It's the same description you had printed up in the paper.
Mm-hmm. Was anyone else around when the man came in the door?
One of my clerks, Everett Smiley. He saw him leave and get in a car right after the robbery.
Is this clerk still around? We'd like to talk to him.
Oh, he went down the street a minute. He'll be right back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe that's him. Yeah?
Mr. Talbot, you remember me, Mrs. Bolton?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Like to ask you a favor, Mr. Talbot, as an old customer.
I'm tied up right now, ma'am. Could I see you a little later on?
I won't even come in, Mr. Talbot. You see, we're having our annual benefit whist party down at the community church. They were going to have it next Thursday, but I made them put it off another week so we could get some decent prizes.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Of course, a lot of our people are good customers of the store here, so I knew you'd be willing to give something to the prize list.
Oh, yeah.
Shall I put you down for one of the door prizes? Maybe 2 or 3 market baskets full of canned corn, peas, things like that.
Yeah, okay, Mrs. Bolton. I'll have Everett fix them up tomorrow.
Of course. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Talbot. I'll have my boy Robert pick them up tomorrow. You'll have the baskets fixed up real nice, won't you?
Yes, ma'am. I'll take care of it.
Well, thank you again. Goodbye.
Goodbye, ma'am.
Goodbye, gentlemen.
Goodbye. Mr. Talbot, I wonder if you could tell us what happened after you got back here in your office with the hold-up man.
Well, it happened pretty fast. He reached into the briefcase he was carrying like he was going to get his order book, and he came up with this gun. He told me to open that safe there. But I stalled. I said I didn't know how.
I see.
And that's when he started telling me what he'd do to my family, my wife, if I didn't open the safe. He knew all about us, my address, my wife's name, my kids. He said he'd get them if I didn't do what I was told.
Same M.O. Never failed him. What'd you do then, Talbot?
Well, money's not worth that much to me. I opened the safe and gave him everything. A little over $400. I still don't know how he got that information about my family.
Do you have any suspicions at all?
No, nobody I can think of.
How about the gun he had? Can you describe it?
Well, just like you have it listed in that bulletin on him. 38 revolver, blue steel, long barrel.
Mr. Talbot.
Come on in, Ev. Officers, this is my clerk, Everett Smiley. I'm sorry I forgot your name.
Friday and Romero, robbery detail. Hi.
No.
Hey, Mr. Talbot says that you saw the hold-up man leaving the market. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. He walked right out of the store and down the street just like nothing happened. I didn't know anything was wrong till later.
Did you notice if the man got in a car?
Yeah, I did. Car was parked about halfway down the block. Another guy was driving. Motor was running.
Did you catch the license number?
No, but it was a brand new sedan. A Pontiac, I think. You shouldn't have much trouble finding it.
Without a license number?
Well, it's a brand new car. I remember the color. I couldn't forget that.
Yeah.
Bright red, just like a fire engine.
90% of the time, color identification of a car means nothing. For one thing, a getaway car can be painted in a matter of a few hours, and for another, the color of a vehicle is not listed on the registration slip. It's impossible to check a car through DMV on color alone. But in this case, we figured that we had half an exception to the rule. The car used in the robbery was new. It was painted a very distinctive color. We began an immediate canvass of automobile dealers throughout the city. After a day and a half of calling and checking, we found 2 dealers who had sold 2 new cars within recent weeks with fire engine red paint jobs. We got the names and addresses of the purchasers and checked them out. One of them was a Miss Mona Taylor, an ad taker for one of the daily morning papers.
I'm sorry to bother you at your work, Miss Taylor.
Oh, not at all. Most of it's over for today. What is it you want to know?
Well, we understand that you bought a new Pontiac sedan about 3 weeks ago. Is that correct?
Yes, I did. If this is about that parking ticket, why, I've already taken care of it.
No, ma'am, that's not it. We'd just like to know if you still own that car.
Well, I don't own it yet. I'm still paying on it.
Colors are bright red, is that right?
Yes, it is. Fire engine red. I like bright colors.
Well, does anyone else besides yourself drive the car, Miss Taylor?
Well, yes, once in a while. I lend it to my boyfriend, Al. Al Daly. I've known him for a long time. Oh, excuse me. Classified ads, Miss Taylor. Yes, sir. 2-room apartment? Unfurnished? All right.
You got a smoke,
Steam,
Joe?
heat,
Yes, I
view, Beverly Hills.
That's it, Ken.
$80. What's that? Yes, sir. Tomorrow morning's edition. Yes, $2.12 for 2 days. Could I have your name, address, and telephone number? Thank you, sir.
About this friend of yours, Miss Taylor, this Al Daly. How long have you been lending him your car?
Since he got his new salesman's job. He has to make night calls on customers out in the valley, so I let him have the car, usually about once a week.
When's the last time that he borrowed the car, miss?
2 nights ago.
From Mona Taylor, we got the address of her boyfriend, Al Daly. We located him in a rooming house on South Boulevard Avenue. He admitted he borrowed the Taylor girl's car the night before, but he denied that he drove it anywhere in the vicinity of the robbery.
How about your friend, Jimmy Bray?
I don't know. I loaned the car, that's all. He gave me $30.
Well, that's an awful lot of rental money. Why did he need a car so bad?
I don't know. Let's ask him.
Where's he stay?
Bartlett Hotel. 8th and Flower.
Mm-hmm.
You going over to see him now?
That's right. Why?
Well, I thought if you were going over there, you wouldn't mind taking this with you. He left it in the car when he brought it back. His briefcase.
Let's have a look.
What's the matter? What's all the fuss about a briefcase?
Yeah? Mm-hmm.
What is it? Let's see.
All right, you got an answer for that, Daly?
Sure, a funny place to keep a gun.
We took Al Daly downtown where he was held for questioning. We had a stakeout placed on his rooming house. We had both Daly and Bray checked through R&I. No criminal record. The briefcase and the .38 revolver were booked as evidence with the property clerk. There was no record or prints on the gun. The Taylor girl's car was impounded to be checked for fingerprints. 7 p.m., we drove out to the Bartlett Hotel on 8th and Flower. The room clerk confirmed the fact that Jimmy Bray was a registered guest at the hotel.
You want to call the office, Joe?
Yeah, all right, I'll do it.
You got change?
Yeah, I think I have. Yep. Okay.
City Hall.
2511.
2511.
Robbery, Powers.
Joe Friday, John. We're out at Bray's Hotel. We're going to stake it out. He's not in yet.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
What do you mean?
Market out on 12th Street was held up a minute ago.
Yeah?
Bandit carried a briefcase.
You are listening to Dragnet, authentic stories of your police force in action.
You'll be amazed when you compare Fatima with other long cigarettes.
Buy a pack. You'll find Fatimas now cost the same. Light a Fatima.
Ah, that's different.
What a difference.
Yes, friends, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Quality of tobaccos, the finest Turkish and domestic varieties, extra mild and superbly blended to give you a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette.
Quality of manufacture. Smooth, plump cigarettes rolled in the finest paper money can buy.
Quality, even to the appearance of the bright, clean yellow package, carefully wrapped and sealed to bring you Fatima's rich, fresh, extra mild flavor.
Try comparing Fatima yourself. Fatimas now cost the same as other long cigarettes, but your first puff will tell you...
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Ask your dealer for Fatima, the quality king-size cigarette. Best of all long cigarettes. Start enjoying Fatima tomorrow.
.30 p.m. After checking Bray's room and finding nothing, Ben and I remained on stakeout at the Bartlett Hotel. The suspect failed to show up. At midnight, Young and Mackenzie came out and relieved us. We drove back to the office and got the particulars on the holdup of the 12th Street Market. The M.O. was almost exactly the same as in the other 16 robberies. The victim's description of the holdup man matched perfectly with Bray's. By noon the next day, the suspect still had not returned to his hotel. An intensive canvass of the immediate neighborhood around the Bartlett Hotel netted us nothing. Nobody remembered Bray. We checked the bars and restaurants that he was known to patronize. No one had any idea where he might be. Details at the airport, railroad stations, and bus terminals were alerted. We got out a supplementary description on our original APB. The sheriff's office was kept advised. 2 days passed. Still no sign. We questioned and re-questioned Al Daly. Either he couldn't or he wouldn't add anything to what he'd already told us about Bray. A series of stakeouts were placed at food markets in areas where Bray had staged robberies previously. A composite picture of the suspect was made up and given wide distribution throughout the city. It all went for nothing. The following Tuesday, March 4th, Bray robbed a neighborhood market in Highland Park of $150.
I had to give him the money, Sergeant. He threatened my wife and kids. Said he'd see something happen to them if I didn't open the safe.
Did you say he wore gloves, sir?
That's right. I thought it didn't jibe at first. A salesman wearing gloves like that. Didn't think about it till it was too late.
Did you notice if he was on foot or did he get away in a car?
He had a car, all right, parked down the street there. Saw it through the window. Another fellow was at the wheel.
Mm-hmm. Did you notice anything else about the car, the license number maybe?
No, I couldn't see that, but it was a coupe. I'm sure of that.
Yeah?
It was red, bright red.
There was one angle we couldn't figure. If Bray was bent on a steady career of robbery, why did he use an escape car painted the most conspicuous color possible? We checked out Mona Taylor's car again. There was no connection. The search went on. 2 weeks, 3 weeks, another month. Bray kept to his usual schedule, one robbery a week. The legwork went on, too. On March 20th, we got a call from one of Ben's informants. He told us that he'd seen a man answering Bray's description in the Venice Park amusement area down by the beach. When we drove down to Venice to check it out.
Pretty good crowd for a cold night.
Yeah. Where do we find this friend of yours?
See where the merry-go-round is up ahead?
Yeah?
Just beyond that. He runs one of the booths. You throw baseballs at phony milk bottles. 3 chances for a dime, you know.
Oh, yeah.
He and his wife run it. They've been out here for years. I don't know how they ever make a living at it. Hey, those hot dogs smell good, don't they?
Is that your friend's booth across the way there?
Yeah, it is.
Come on, fellas. Show the girls how you can throw a baseball. Fill them out. How about it? You'll let the girls have a free throw. Step up and win a prize.
Looks like Maud's running the place tonight. Maud, that's his wife.
Oh, yeah.
How you doing, Sergeant? Cold night, huh?
Hi, Maud. This is my partner, Joe Friday.
How are you?
Glad to know you, Joe. Guess you're looking for Scooter, huh?
Yeah, is he around?
Just down the way, Sarge. Hey, how about it? Sailor, try your luck. 1 thin dime. Spill the milk.
Pretty good crowd tonight, Maud.
Oh, yeah, but they're not spending. Hasn't been good at all lately.
Where'd you say your husband was, ma'am?
Just down the way. Old man Hudson's out to chow. Scooter runs a merry-go-round for him while he eats.
Now, thank you, Maud. We'll drop back and see you before we leave.
Right. Glad to meet you, Joe.
Yeah, glad to meet you. Goodbye.
What do you say, girls? Have the boys show you how good they can throw. Spill the milk. How about it?
Scooter, is that what you said? Is that the guy's name?
Yeah, that's right. He used to run the Scooter Drome. You know, the little electric cars you drive around, bumpers all around?
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Hey,
there he is. Scooter? Hey, Scooter!
All right, Sarge, I've been waiting for you. Hop on.
Yeah, go ahead, Joe.
Okay. How you doing, Sarge? Good to see you.
Scooter, my partner, Joe Friday.
How are you?
Yeah, glad to know you, Joe. I guess we can talk here as well as any place, huh?
Sure. What's the story, Scooter?
It's like I told you on the phone. Murphy down at the Penny Arcade, he noticed the guy first. He pointed him out to me. He sure hits close to Bray's description.
Well, when did you first see him?
Oh, 2 nights ago. I wasn't so sure it was Bray the first time. Then I saw him last night, and that cinched it.
I didn't hear that.
I said I saw him last night, and that cinched it.
Oh. Well, when did this Murphy, was that his name? When did he first see him?
About a week ago. He's got an eagle eye for strangers who hang around. Murphy thinks the guy's staying out here someplace.
Is there any idea of where?
Yeah. Just a minute. No jumping around like that, son. Now you'll fall off and bang your head. Kids.
Where'd you spot this man, Scooter?
Same place Murphy did it. He's hanging around the shooting gallery down the way. The guy who runs the place is new. We don't know him well enough to ask him about it.
You mean this man who looks like Bray just hangs around the counter there?
Well, no, not exactly. You see, there's a little office to one side of the shooting gallery, and the times I seen the guy, he was either coming in or going out of there.
Mm-hmm. When's the last time you saw him, Scooter?
Huh?
I say, when's the last time you saw him?
Oh, earlier tonight, about 6:30. I think Murphy's right. The guy's holding up in there. Hold on there, girlie. Now, don't try to get off the merry-go-round till it stops. That's the girl.
Thank you a lot, Scooter. We'll check back with you before we leave.
Yeah, okay, Sarge. I hope it helps you out. I'm glad I met you, Joe.
Right, see you later.
There's the shooting gallery down there by the bullseye, son.
Yeah, if the guy is Bray, it's funny that he hasn't been spotted before. This area is pretty well patrolled here.
Yeah.
Try your skill, fellas. 10 shots, only quarter.
We're police officers. Like to ask you a few questions.
Oh, what about?
What's your name?
Gridley? Max Gridley?
You know anybody by the name of James Bray?
Bray?
Uh-huh.
No, I don't. Why?
How about this, Mr. Gridley? Know anybody who fits that description?
No, it doesn't mean anything to me. What's the matter, anyway?
Well, a man answering that description has been seen entering and leaving this office right next door over here. It's part of your concession, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. But I'm the only one who uses it. Somebody must have got the wrong slant.
Then you wouldn't mind if we looked it over. Routine investigation.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, all right. I'll come around and open the door for you.
All right, come on.
It's just a cubby hole, as you can see. Trying to use it as a storage place. Sometimes I have my lunch in here. Take a nap once in a while.
Looks pretty well lived in. All those clothes are yours, Mr. Gridley?
Yeah, that's right. Why?
Hey, Mac, how about a load on this thing?
Oh, it's a customer. Excuse me a minute. Be right back.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, Jim.
Yeah.
Over here, have a look.
This towel.
Yeah. Look at the name stenciled on it.
Bartlett Hotel. 9:30 p.m. We advised the shooting gallery operator not to attempt any phone calls. Then I called the office, and Ricketts and Powers came out to help us with a stakeout on the shooting gallery and the adjoining office. Ben and I covered from the Penny Arcade directly opposite the shooting gallery. Ricketts and Powers were staked out 2 doors away at a stand that advertised handwriting analyzed, 25 cents. We waited. Ben munched on a bag of popcorn. 10:30 p.m., no sign of the suspect. 11 o'clock, still no sign.
Getting pretty cold. Everybody going home?
Yeah. You got any more of that popcorn there?
Oh, yeah, here you are. 2 pieces left. Very good.
Must have been. Not much in there now.
Oh, I'm sorry. I can get another bag. Machine's right over there. No, turn it off. How about some peanuts?
No, thanks.
Oh, sure there's some in there, Joe. Want some?
No.
Sure would like to see Bray show up. Hate to spend the night staked out here.
Yeah. Hey, wait a minute. Look.
Huh?
The shooting gallery. The guy in the blue suit.
He's talking to the manager. He's going around the side door.
Yeah, come on.
He's going inside.
All right, hold it right there, mister.
Joe, watch it.
Ricketts, Johnny, cover the back.
Right, Joe. I'll get the door.
All right. Come on, let's hit it.
Yeah. Went out the back. Come on.
Yep.
Hold it. Johnny's got him.
Yeah.
Good. Johnny, you okay?
Yeah. They're rough.
Let's roll him over, huh?
Yeah, all right. How about it, Joe?
Short, dark complexion, fat.
What do you think?
I don't know, but it's not Bray. Ricketts and Powers remained on stakeout at the shooting gallery while Ben and I took the suspect downtown along with the proprietor of the shooting gallery, Max Gridley. We had the man treated for cuts and bruises at Georgia Street Receiving Hospital, and we took him to the office. He identified himself as Blake Chatfield, an unemployed salesman. After 2 hours of questioning, he broke down and admitted that he was Bray's accomplice. In each of the 18 robberies, he drove the getaway car. He said for the past month, he and Bray had been living in the office adjoining the shooting gallery. He was booked at the New City Jail on suspicion of 211 PC. Max Gridley was held for further questioning. 1:35 a.m. We checked back in at the office.
Guess I had too many hot dogs out there.
Yeah, what's the matter?
Oh, indigestion. Maybe it was the popcorn.
A couple of messages in the book. My wife wants you to call her before you go home.
Uh-huh. Hello, Amy. Yeah, long night, yeah. What? Both for graham bread. Well, I'll try. Okay, dear. Yeah, bye. Same old thing.
Yeah. I get it. Robbery Friday.
Johnny Powers, Joe.
Yeah, John. How's it going?
Jimmy Bray finally showed. We got him.
Any trouble?
No. Drove up in a bright red coupe. Couldn't miss him.
Mm-hmm. You coming in now?
Yeah, just leaving. See ya.
Right, John. Bye. Well, I picked up Bray. Bringing him in now.
Good. Sure been a long haul. Almost 5 months.
Yeah, it's a long time.
Hey, Joe.
Yeah?
Where am I going to get a loaf of graham bread at this time in the morning?
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. For the past few weeks, I've asked you to send me the names of dealers who are out of Fatimas. You see, the demand for Fatimas is so great, I want to make sure that all of you can buy them. So keep on writing. If you find a dealer fresh out of Fatimas, let me know, and we'll have something done about it. Write your dealer's name and address on a card and mail it to me, Jack Webb, Post Office Box 951, Hollywood 28. That's Jack Webb, Post Office Box 951, Hollywood 28. Now, a word for you, Mr. Dealer. The coming holiday season will find new thousands insisting on Fatima quality. So step up your orders for Fatima tomorrow. Get in on the increasing demand for the quality long cigarette.
James R. Bray and Blake A. Chatfield were tried and convicted on several counts of armed robbery and received sentences as prescribed by law. Max Gridley was filed on for failure to register as an ex-convict. Bray and Chatfield are now serving their terms in the state penitentiary. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
This is Bob Hope. Can we steal a second?
Chesterfield, Chesterfield always wins first place. That Miler mild tobacco never leaves an aftertaste.
So open a pack, give 'em a smell.
Then you smoke 'em.
Don't forget to give Crosby for Christmas. I mean the Chesterfield Christmas carton with Bing as Papa Santa Claus. See you Tuesday.
Fatima Cigarettes, the best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, portions transcribed from Los Angeles.
Coming up, We the People, then Screen Directors Playhouse on NBC.
This one's about Pete Kelly. This one's about the blues. Pete Kelly's blues. Pete Kelly's Blues, starring Jack Webb, with story by Joe Eisinger and music by Dick Kempner.
417 Cherry Street, Kansas City. It's a standard speakeasy. The ceiling is low, the prices are high, and the whiskey is cut more times than a chin at a barber college. The entrance is just wide enough to handle one at a time, vertical or horizontal. My name's Pete Kelly. I play cornet. We start every night about 10, and we play till the last buck is home safe in Lupo's cash register. George Lupo owns the lease. He's a fat, friendly little guy you can always count on for a 20 in exchange for 2 10s. But that's all right. He lets us play the kind of music we like, and every once in a while he'll let us duck out to make a couple of phonograph records. All he asks is that we're back in an hour and 15% of the take. Well, last night, Matty Wynn had been after us for 2 weeks to make another record for him, to fill out one side. Matty ran a 2-turntable recording joint in a loft over on Baltimore. During the day, he'd keep busy making $2 personal records for the folks to send back home to the farm. At night, he'd rope a combo like ours to put out with some Dixie for the local market. We'd already pressed a few for his label under different names. The Spickardsville Sparks, the Grundy Growlers, the KC Cats. Maybe you got one or two in your collection. Hold on to them. They're pure. Well, it was getting on to 11 when I pushed the tempo on the last number in the second set. Lupo glared at us as we hustled out. We packed up our instruments. We piled into a taxi in Red's Erskine coupe and slammed out for Baltimore Street and Matty's loft. All right. Let's keep it light, huh? This is a residential district now. Hold it down, boys, huh? Hold it down.
Hey, fellas, quiet down now. Quiet.
Pete?
Who's that, Red?
Looks like Zelda.
Oh, Pete, I'm so glad I didn't miss you.
Yeah, Zelda.
I have to... Could I talk to you for a minute, Pete?
All right, what's on your mind?
Alone?
I got a recording date, Zelda.
I know, Pete. That's why I came here.
We have to get back to 417.
A minute, Pete? A half a minute.
All right.
Okay, Petey, we'll wait upstairs. All right, you guys, let's move. And Pete.
Yeah, Red.
We don't sound like much out of calling that. Make it snappy, huh?
All right.
All right, inside, Mo. Okay.
Thank you, Pete.
All right, come on, Zelda.
Don't be mean, Pete. I've had my share of meanness. The way the newspapers...
What did you expect? Rave notices for the way you divorced Matty to marry a hood like Johnny April?
I have a right to live my own life.
Sure, no matter whose life you kick to shreds doing it.
I love Johnny, and he loves me. Oh, Pete, of all people, I thought you would understand, that you would...
Now, look, Zelda. I like a guy named Matty Wynn. In my book, he didn't rate the kind of treatment you dealt him.
You like a guy named Matty Wynn. How much do you really know?
All right, Zelda, just funnel this down. Now, what do you want?
Matty refuses to see me, Pete.
That figures.
I want you to talk to him for me.
Saying what?
You and Matty, you always got on well together. He may listen to you.
Now, look, Zelda, I got a job to do. Get to it.
Matty's got a record that belongs to me. I want it.
What kind of a record?
It's a record you and the boys made once, June 9th.
Well, you're beginning to make a lot of sense, Zelda.
He'll understand, Pete. Just tell him I'll give him anything he wants for the record. You just tell him that, Pete. If you talk to him, maybe he'll...
Now, look, Zelda, just for the book here. I never liked you much.
I know, Pete.
I think you were grief for Matty from the first day he met you until the day you dealt him the final foul. All right, now, why don't you just leave him alone?
For Matty's sake, believe me, Pete. For his sake, I must have that record, and if you're a friend of his, Pete, you'll advise him to give it to me.
All right. I don't know what you want with an old disc of mine, but if it's something you need, it's something Matty's better off without. Matty?
Well, Pete, I've begun to think you deserted us for the Mound City Blue Blowers.
I just left Zelda.
Of course, the wisest thing any man could do.
She's waiting for me downstairs.
Why is it, Pete, that we always assume the vulture to be male?
She seemed more like a frightened rabbit.
Zelda, rabbit? Mink, yes, but never rabbit.
All right, Matty, I'll tell you about it after the session, huh? All right, let's get it on the road, huh? Matty, what do you want us to do?
Well, you've just got one side to fill. Last time you did me singing the blues, we never did get a good take on Dixieland One Step.
Okay, all right. Come on, guys. Let's like each other, huh?
Quiet down. Quiet down.
All right, let's do Dixieland One Step.
How you want a routine, Petey?
Well, let's see. Like this. Everybody going in. Nick, plug those brakes solid. Matlock, you take the first little break on clarinet.
Yeah.
Now, Mo, you take the second and really blow it out, huh? Give me a
And everybody in on the first chorus, huh?
Yeah, that's right. And I'll take it for 16. Matlock, you take 16, everybody out. Good and bright, huh?
Yeah, okay.
All right. Ready, Matty?
Just a second. Okay, take it on the count, huh?
All right, now, here we go.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Well, felt good, huh?
Yeah, it was good for me.
Bye, Matlock.
Matty?
That does it, Pete.
All right, you can pack up. I'll see you back at 417, huh?
Come on, boys. You stand behind, Pete?
Yeah, 10 minutes. Leave the Erskine for me, will you, Red?
Sure. Look, Pete, you come here to take care of your business. Leave it that way, huh?
Don't worry, Red. I aim to. Will you take my horn?
Yeah.
I'll see you later.
All right. Nice, Pete. One solo seems a little long for time, but I think we can get it all on.
Look, Matty, I know this is probably none of my business.
The papers and her marriage to Johnny April has made Zelda everybody's business.
Well, she asked me to talk to you about a record.
Indeed.
An old one of ours, June night?
Yeah, June night. I remember it well, Pete. I always considered it a splendid achievement in jazz that should one day become a collector's item.
Zelda doesn't know jazz from German needles and cares less, but she said she'd give you anything you want for that record.
You can tell Zelda that she can purchase a copy of June night at Lambert's for 35 cents.
Yeah, that's why I don't get it.
And if you're fortunate, Pete, you never will. Forgive me, Pete. I don't mean to be sharp with you, but you're young and carefree. Stay that way. And if Zelda should again approach you, take a trip around the world or someplace else, but go.
All right, Matty. She asked me to ask you, and I asked. Good night.
Good night, Pete. Hey, you Pete Kelly?
Who wants to know?
Hear that, Perry? He wants to know who wants to know. All right, I'll tell you. I want to know. Feel better?
Sure, I'm Pete Kelly, but I got a right...
And I got a left. Let's ride.
Thanks, but I got my own car here.
Right now, ours is safer for you. It's bulletproof.
Well, I was going to tell him I didn't need a bulletproof car. He showed me the gun. It was a .45. I know how to admit it when I'm wrong. So we got into the bulletproof car. During the ride, I cased the two artillerymen. Except for their faces, I'd seen them a couple of times before. At 417, over at Sour Sammy's, at Fat Annie's. The same tightly tailored blue suits, the same long, itchy fingers, and the same razor-edged lips and eyes. Oh, there's hundreds of them around. But they're pretty right guys. You gotta know how to handle them. Just do as they tell you, and the chances are you won't lose more than one eye. Well, the car glided to a smooth stop in front of the Roxbury Apartments. The private elevator shot us up to the penthouse. My stomach caught up with me as the Gunsels pushed me into a living room that was slightly smaller than Swope Park, but less crowded. One man, all shoulders, no hips, and rich black hair, a face that'd make Wally Reed cut his throat. He was sitting at a table with earphones on. He was tuning a radio. He glanced once over his shoulder at me. I didn't jump more than 20 yards. It was Johnny April.
Just a minute. I've been listening to something good on the earphones. Here, I'll plug in the speaker for you. You hear that music?
Yeah.
Nice reception, huh?
Yeah.
Just got it. 12-tube super heterodyne, Magnavox horn. Pulls in Frisco without static. The best. Drink?
No, thanks.
You sure?
I'm sure.
Canadian import, the best. Sure you want number one?
Yeah, sure.
Well, luck?
Luck?
Yeah, it's good stuff. Got a jolt, the best. You know who I am?
Yeah.
You sure?
Sure.
What's my name?
April. Johnny April.
That's right. You know my wife?
Your wife?
My wife.
Yeah?
You sure?
Yeah, Mrs. April.
Don't you know her better than that?
Than what?
Than Mrs. April?
Well?
Huh?
Well, sure. I know her. I knew her when she... Well, before she...
When she was married to Matty Wynn?
Yeah.
But you didn't call her Mrs. Wynn, did you?
Well,
What did you call her?
By her name?
Which is?
Zelda.
Zelda, that's right. That's all I wanted to fix. Now we both know what we're talking about, Zelda. You understand now?
Yeah?
That's why I invited you here, to talk about Zelda. And why you're bothering her.
Oh, well, you lost me, Mr. April.
Not a bad suggestion, but first I want you to tell me what you and Wynn are clubbing Zelda with.
You're asking me to play without a cue sheet, Mr. April. I don't even know the tune.
Tonight you stopped Zelda on Baltimore Street. You talked to her on a corner. You were seen. She was pleading with you.
Now, look, Mr. April, you're spinning it backwards. She stopped me, asked me to speak to Wynn.
About what?
Well, about a record she said belongs to her.
What record?
Well, it's a record. One that I made for Wynn. It's called... The title... Yeah, I know. This sounds silly, but it's true.
Half right, Kelly. Sounds silly because it isn't true. What do you want with Zelda?
All right, April. You take it any way you like. All I want from Zelda is distance between us. Now, I got a date to play.
Jake, teach him. What are you and Wynn cooking?
Nothing.
What do you want from Zelda?
Nothing, I tell you.
Johnny, what are you doing?
Is this the crumb who stopped you tonight?
Yeah, he's the one.
How much did Wynn pay April to take Angel off his hands?
What did he want?
Money. Yeah, he said he and Wynn would make trouble for me. For you.
What kind of trouble?
My divorce. About my divorce. Open it up again unless I paid them.
All right. Now listen to me, Tin Horn. You got luck. You got lots of luck. You should light a candle to your luck. Next time you fill a ditch. This time I only warn you. And these are the warnings on the way. Tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock, you go to Union Station. You buy a ticket, east, west, north, or south. You go. You go till the train runs out of the rails. No more room for you in Kansas City. Only in that ditch. You hear me?
I hear you. Well, Jake and Perry drove me back to the Erskine. They dropped me on Baltimore. I sat on the curb, my head between my knees. After a while, I felt a little better. I could breathe again. The lights were still on up in Matty's loft. He was probably working on the master. While I navigated the long flight of stairs, trying hard to hold back the sudden anger kicking up in me. It wasn't Matty's fault. He'd warned me about Zelda. No use to take it out on him. Well, I went into the loft and made an effort to hold it down. But it was a wasted effort. Matty wouldn't have minded anything I said or did. Matty wasn't even there. Only his body, half covered with the burlap used on the walls to soundproof the joint. He'd been shot once through the head, clawed down enough burlap over himself to make a shroud. I picked up the phone in the office, gave Central the number of Sour Sammy's joint, and waited for Sammy to see if Barney Ricketts was under his favorite table. Barney Ricketts is the only ex-bootlegger I know who went broke in 1922. He set out to prove that a man could drink his gin without ill effects. But he never set a time limit on the experiment. No, Barney hadn't come in yet to Sour Sammy's. Well, I left word for him, meet me at Fat Annie's place. I started to leave. I hesitated and went back to Matty Wynn, spread a clean handkerchief over his face. I made the street 3 stairs at a time. I crossed the river, jolted the Erskine down Boulder Road to Fat Annie's place. Seemed like a waste of good singing, but Maggie Jackson was getting ready to do her number. I eased a lone drunk out of a booth, draped him on the edge of the bar, and sat and listened to Maggie.
Across the river on the Kansas side, that's where Fat Annie and the blues abide. To get your music and your chicken fried, come to Fat Annie. Just pour a pocketful of rock and ride across the river to the Kansas side. And when you get across that great divide, come to Fat Annie.
I'm just beat, Pete, right down to my shoes.
Yeah, it's a noisy crowd, Maggie.
Out-of-town wine buyers with gin chasers. Murder.
Yeah, do you want a beer?
Thanks, Pete. I could use it.
All right. Hey, draw 2, will you? Barney ain't been in yet, has he?
No. You got trouble again, Pete?
Where can I buy a new birthday? The stars are ganging up on me.
Ain't nothing in that astrology, Pete.
Well, there must be some explanation. Yes or no, hot or cold, I catch it.
What's the misery this time, Pete?
Only that Matty Wynn caught a bullet in the head.
No.
And if I'm not out of KC by morning, he's going to have company. Look, Maggie, do you remember a disc I cut for Matty? June night?
Sure do. Good session.
You got a copy of that one?
Right on top of the pile.
Where?
In my room, just down the street a piece.
Well, I'd go with you, Maggie, but I don't want to miss Barney.
I'll get it for you, Petey.
Thanks a lot.
Ah, Peach Kelly, noted troubadour, bar of the barrel houses.
Hi, Barney.
And Maggie Jackson, canary of the cribs.
I'll be right back, Pete.
Thanks a lot.
Petey, I've just suffered a great hurt. No sooner did I set foot in Sour Sammy's joint than Sour Sammy himself came a-grinning and a-smirking to tell me with undisguised glee that you were waiting for me here. He was openly delighted to see me go.
Yeah, look, Barney.
I was sorely tempted to ignore the message, merely to aggravate Sour Sammy, you understand. But since it was you, Petey, and in distress, I'll warrant, I came on the wings of Mercury.
Thanks, Barney.
Mercury, that's a thought, Petey. We've tried ether in our beer, chloroform, and even the tincture of laudanum. Now, what would a soup spoon of mercury do? No, too risky, unless, of course, one...
Barney, listen to me, will you? I'm breathing against the clock.
Never will I forget Sour Sammy's attitude, and after all the credit he's given me, too. No, Petey, it proves only one thing. Man is essentially an asocial animal. We band together only because we find it impossible to survive alone.
Yeah, I know.
But there is no true affection anywhere. Like the wolf, yes, take the wolf, Petey. He too herds, but only in times of want and stress.
Yeah.
And as soon as he doesn't have to rely upon his fellow wolf for survival, off he goes to prey upon his own. Yes, Petey, like the wolf, man is a lone hunter, hating the herd because he is forced to depend upon it for survival.
You all through?
Very well, fellow wolf.
Johnny April, Barney, do you know him?
Oh, yes. A fine gentleman, Johnny April. Never kills on the Sabbath.
Well, I can't wait that long. He gives me till morning to get out of town.
Foolish man. Right now, you should be navel-deep in timetables.
Look, I got sucked into this by his wife, Zelda. She asked me to get a record from Mattie Wynn that belongs to her. She told April that I'm trying to shake her down. I got worked over, and Wynn got a bullet.
What's on this record?
I don't know. It's just a disc I once made for Mattie. It's called June Night.
Why does Zelda want it?
I don't know.
Why did Zelda lie to April?
I don't know.
Here's the record, Pete.
Thanks, Maggie.
And who shot Mattie?
I don't know.
Let's save time, Petey. Just tell me what you do know.
Well, all I know is that Zelda's after this record, and she doesn't want April to know it.
And that's the copy there?
Yeah, June Night. I thought maybe we could spin it once, and maybe it'll give us some kind of a message.
I'll put it on the phonograph, Pete.
Thanks, Maggie. I'll wind it up for you here. All right, listen to it, huh?
Good quality. Mean anything?
Nothing.
No hidden meanings or codes or ciphers?
Nothing there but the music.
Tell me, Petey, how are these things made?
What?
A recording.
Well, you record directly onto a round table of soapy wax, and then they dust this wax with graphite, and they dip it in a copper plating tank. From this, they make what they call the mother, or the stamper. And that's what turns out the records that you buy in the store.
I see. And the wax master, that's always kept in the recording studio?
Yeah.
When you've finished a job, Pete, can anything else be recorded on the master?
Well, I suppose you could dub from one master to another, yeah.
Petey, when I was a mere lad, my old father told me, when you seek an answer, child, always go to the master.
Well, I pointed Barney for the door. We got into the Erskine and jolted back over Boulder Road and across the river. Barney insisted on expanding his wolf-man-herd theory all the way back to Baltimore Street. By the time we reached Matty Wynn's loft, my fangs were on edge. Barney looked away from Wynn's body as we headed for the file room. I yanked open a metal container. It was empty. The master of June night was gone. Yeah, your old father was right, Barney.
He also told me the master will always be there for you. Notice the disarranged state of the files here. All the compartments.
Yeah.
Whoever came for the master of June night went directly to the right file as you did. Didn't find it there and ransacked the rest of the place.
Well, then Matty hid it figuring something like this. But where?
Let's look around the control room, Petey.
Oh, there's no place there to hide a flea.
Did you ever read a story called The Purloined Letter by Edgar Allan Poe?
Not now, Barney.
A wonderful little tale.
Now, look, Barney,
In this particular story, Petey, a number of detectives were taking a room apart by the seams, searching for a letter. They couldn't find it, and why? Because man is blind, Petey. He never recognizes the truth when his eyes fall on it, just as our eyes now fall on this peculiar-looking record on the turntable.
Yeah. Barney, you wouldn't leave it out just like this.
Prove me wrong. Play it.
All right. Let's listen to it and see.
You understand what you're to say, Zelda?
You worked the script for me.
Not that I don't trust you, of course.
Let's get on with it, Matty.
A little closer to the microphone, Zelda.
This close enough, Matty? This close enough, Pete?
Don't be foolish, Zelda. Put that gun away.
Give me the record, Pete.
Sure, in exchange for that gun.
You'll get what's in the gun.
Like you dealt it to Matty? The record here on the turntable all the time, and you broke 3 nails ripping those files apart?
Face the wall. Keep your hands up. Lean against it, both of you.
Excuse me, madam, but I just dropped in to make a record for the folks
Shut
back
up.
home. Surely.
One move, and I'll give it to you in the back.
That's my department, Zelda.
Johnny.
Give me the gun. All right, Zelda. I told you here. I only bought a small piece of your yarn. Now I want the rest of it.
I didn't want to involve you, Johnny. I came to pay them off. They killed Matty. See? See there? And I got the gun away
No
from...
good, Zelda. Can't you see his face? He's just run out of mileage and ideas. Listen to this, April.
No, darling. It's a frame. This...
Shut up. All right, Kelly, I'm listening, and it better be good.
All right. Here it is. It's all on the record.
Just close enough, Matty?
Perfect. Now, just in case anything goes wrong, this recording will be our protection from each other. To whom it may concern, my wife, Zelda, and I have entered into this agreement of our own free will.
All right, just get to it, Matty.
Go ahead.
I have told Johnny April that I want to divorce my husband and marry him. When this is accomplished, it is our intention that I be made a widow as soon as possible and then remarry Matty Wynn.
Just for the record, you agree to decoy said Mr. April to a predetermined spot where you'll be unarmed and without bodyguards. I agree to shoot Mr. April. The police will not question your story that he was ambushed by a rival mobster, identity unknown to you. You will then inherit the April money and return to me. You agree?
I agree. Crazy enough to do anything for you, even when you tell your own wife.
All right.
That's enough.
This will be legal.
Johnny.
April, don't shoot her.
Johnny, don't, please, don't.
No, Zelda.
No.
Back off so I won't miss you. Zelda.
Johnny!
He can't hear you.
I should have let him kill me.
You fell in love with him, didn't you?
Yes, I did. Only one thing I didn't count on.
Yeah. You can't dance at 2 weddings with one heart.
Pete Kelly's Blues. Webb, with story by Joe Eisinger and music by Dick Cathcart. Scoring by Matty Matlock. The music of Pete Kelly's Big Seven and Maggie Jackson is now available on phonograph records. Ladies and gentlemen, the Red Cross already has allocated more than $1 million for emergency relief work in the flood-stricken areas of Kansas, Missouri, Illinois, and Oklahoma. The biggest Red Cross job, however, will be rebuilding and refurnishing homes in the flooded areas. Cost of this job will run into the millions, more than present Red Cross resources can provide. That is why President Truman has issued a special appeal to all Americans to contribute generously to a special Red Cross flood fund of at least $5 million. Send all contributions to your local Red Cross chapter.
The preceding was transcribed. It's the Silver Jubilee on NBC. Tonight, one of your old friends is returning to NBC. Yes, there's fun for everyone tonight with Uncle Gildy, that happy, bungling hero of the airwaves, the great Gildersleeve. And later tonight, there's the best in recorded music on Meredith Wilson's Music Room. Meredith's special guest this evening is Frank Lesser, the composer of Broadway's musical Guys and Dolls. And make a note to hear Dragnet tomorrow with another authentic story from the files of the Los Angeles Police Department. The great Gildersleeve tonight on NBC.